Shalom. Okay, Israel. Most High Christ bless somebody.
Conference recording started.
Okay, Israel. All praises to the Most High for giving us the spirit to come here, fellowship, keep the commandments, and learn what the will of the Most High is. So today we're gonna go over class and somewhat title it, "Why Don't They Listen?" Shed some light and give us some understanding on why people do the things that they do. Because I know a bunch of you Israelites out there are trying to make sense of it. Trying to make sense of it. Turn it out a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. Probably too much.
That's the mic.
Testing. Turn it back up and then the mic down. All right, so right there. So you're trying to make sense of why people do what they do. You understand why they don't listen. Not really understanding that, that's, we know that that's what they're supposed to be doing, but we don't understand that it's a design to this calling, and the design is a lineage. The design is a bloodline. It's a heritage that they partakers in, but remember what the scriptures say: many are called, but they actually will get it. Matthew 20. Matthew chapter 20 and verse 16.
This is Matthew chapter 20 and verse 16. So the last shall be first, and the first last. For many be called, but few are chosen.
Right. Why didn't say the last? Because in the society that you live in, the society, the community, the neighborhood, the life, you're last on the totem pole. You don't get to, you're not getting the benefits in this life. So you consider last. The Father is looking down upon Israel, the ones that he's justifying and calling back. And he's seeing that you got the low end, the sharp. So he said the last, you're going to come up to the front. But first, before that happens, you got to get spiritually educated. You got to learn right from wrong, do's and the don'ts. You got to have the spirit to discern, all things. Because what you don't understand is our job and responsibility is huge. You understand? It's huge. It's going to be bigger than bigger than you ever imagined. That's because what is that job going to consist of? If you tell me. What is that job going to consist of? Think.
prophesy and teach unto the children of Israel.
Okay, you got very, very close. 1 Corinthians 6. First Corinthians 6 and 2.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 2. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world?
Right. So while we're in our worst state, our worst condition, the Most High is feeding us with laws, statutes, and commandments. He's giving us the education. Yeah, he knows that the world looks at us and it appears that we're in last place. He's going to bring us up to the front. And when we come up to the top, guess what we're going to have? Top flight education. They're going to wonder where it came from. It came from all this learning now. This ain't going to die. The word of God abide forever. This ain't going to die. So when you die, then, you know, you don't have, no, you're going to be improve yourself. The Most High is going to endure and increase your spirit. But, you know, this learning and this education, it ain't going to die with you. It's going to still be with you. And you're going to have more. So you're going to go from last to first. And all this understanding going to come up with you. And why it come up with you? Why does it have to? Because now you got to do something bigger than what you're doing. Because right now, you're begging people. You're trying to beg people to repent. On the way in from camp, we stopped. We might have passed out about 50 flyers to some church organization that was giving away and selling stuff at the same time. They took like 90% of them. Somebody went around and collected out of all the people's hands and took them and put them in the trash. They counted themselves unworthy. I left them right there. The Father gonna show them that. Right now, we're trying to plead and beg people. You know, don't take it personal when they count themselves unworthy because they want to do what they want to do. Today, hopefully, through the Spirit, we're going to learn why are they making that choice. Okay? So, it says the last is going to be first. And the first, last. A lot of them, some of them, if they ain't caught up in some type of mesmerizing, bewitching, demonic, carnal, worldly religion, then they caught up in money. But here's the point. It says, for many shall be called. What is called? Somebody said something to them. Somebody used the scriptures. But few. You know, few chosen. And then that fruit, that few, was to deal with the few. Yeah, they're going to listen. But barely, man. Barely make it. Let's get that about the righteous scarcity. What's that? Yeah, 1 Peter 4. First Peter chapter 4 and 17. Start that. Read that.
This is 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 17. For the time is come that the judgment must begin at the house of God. And if it first begin at us...
So now that's the few. Remember, the few going to be saved. So the judgment is going to come down. It's going to come over us. It's going to examine us. It's going to examine your life. It's going to examine your walk. He's going to examine your thoughts, your application, your cares, your mind, what you esteemed important. Judgment is going to begin at the house of God. The very few. The ones that know Christ, the ones that know the Most High, the ones that goes a little deeper than just saying Shalom. The one that goes a little deeper. The ones that's actually picking up the scriptures and know right from wrong. So we're going to be judged based upon those things that we know. Go ahead.
What shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of God?
So the ones that are not doing what the scriptures is saying, what's going to be the end of them? What's going to happen with them? If we're getting judged and we're going through the things that we're going through, we all are getting judged. Okay? We're all getting judged. So getting judged, we catch hell, we don't like it, we complain, and sometimes we wonder, like, well, what's happening unto them? The Father sees, He sees what's happening unto them. Read the next part.
Verse 18. And if the righteous scarcely shall be saved.
Right, and if the righteous, remember, there it is again. Whenever you see that, that's talking about the very few. The few. The scripture says, man, they scarcely be saved. What is to be scarce? Barely. Barely. So imagine you got to go somewhere and the place closes at 6 o'clock. You make it there. At the doors at 5:59, and then click 6, and you like, let me in, and they're locked in the door, but they let you in because they gotta let somebody else out already, and they let you like, man, I barely made it. The scriptures say the righteous, and they're righteous. Well, what makes them righteous? Because in their mind that they were actually trying. Living in an environment that's continually under what? Sinful impressions. Just wicked. But they're trying the best that they could. So their righteousness, the Lord said, scarcely He's going to let you in. Scarcely He's going to receive you. Scarcely He's going to accept you. And that's the righteous. That's the few. So we're not passing with flying colors. There's always room for improvement with everybody that walked the earth. And the ones that are righteous, yeah, you're really trying, but still room for improvement. But there are some that are sinning and they're not trying. And they're talking about room for improvement. Man, they need an overhaul. And a lot of times, those are the ones that we put our spirit in. We're trying to beg them. Go ahead.
Where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear?
Right. Where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? They're not going to appear. Molten lava. They don't think so. And ain't no death in molten lava. You don't die. You just feel agonizing suffering. If the Most High loved us, and we heard all those 5 centuries, no crying is turning it around. Death don't turn it around. No matter how many of us die, no matter how many of us sacrifice ourselves, the wrong way, the right way, it didn't change, it didn't turn His heart. What makes our people, the ungodly and the sinner, thinks that the Most High is going to have a change of heart when they're going towards the eternal judgment? And once they hit the eternal judgment, that an owl or scream or gnashing of teeth is going to change the judgment on his mind. You're going to be stuck there. It ain't no change in his mind. You have an opportunity now to try and avoid that. We're supposed to spend the rest of our life not trying to see our life end like that. Not trying his power, he already told us that he's going to reprove us. He's going to show us when we bow down that he was the Father and that we was wrong. So 1 Peter 4:18, if the righteous scarcely be saved, worse shall the ungodly and the sinner be. Wherefore let them that suffer according to the will of God commit the keeping of their souls to him. And well, what is the suffering? Talking about the emotions that you have to go through because you have to deny yourself of ungodliness and worldly lust. Call and couch yourself upon him. Don't go to the sin, because you go to the sin, then you still have to look forward to the consequences for the sin. As a faithful creator, meaning the Most High created you and he's faithful, he's gonna take care of you. So we finished Nehemiah 8. So listen to the behavior of our foreparents, the Israelites. Nehemiah 1.
This is Nehemiah chapter 8 and verse 1. And all the people gathered themselves together as one man in the street that was before the water gate. And they spake unto Ezra the scribe to bring the book of the law of Moses, which the Lord had commanded to Israel. And Ezra the priest brought the law before the congregation, both of men and women, and all that could hear with understanding, upon the first day of the 7th month. Right, so Ezra the priest, he brought Ezra the scribe. He was also a high priest, also a governor. So he brought the book of the law of Moses, which the Most High commanded to Israel. So when you're speaking to somebody, we have got to understand who's speaking to them. The Most High is speaking unto them. And we got to try, get them to explain, understand that the Most High is speaking unto them. You have got to know that the Most High is speaking unto them. So in doing so, we want to try to get it done right, and then leave it alone, because our job is just to give them warning from the Lord. So Ezra the priest, he brought the law before the congregation. So we got to deal with Israel, and we have to bring laws to them. We have to say, listen, this is the law. Whenever you're going to talk to somebody, this is the law. Regardless of how they might feel about it, regardless of their spiritual understanding or level, always deal with them based upon the law. Both men and women. Women get the laws too. Men get the laws too. Drunkenness, public intoxication, wearing a strange pearl, defiling the temple, not serving the Most High, forsaking assembly, defiling the Sabbath day, whatever laws there are. Laws that, that's written in the scriptures. That's what I mean by whatever laws there are. Okay? Charity, the way that we speak. Okay? Way that we possess our vessel. And all that could hear with understanding upon the first day of the 7th month. So that was the new moon that he was referring to. Okay?
Go ahead.
And he read therein before the street that was before the water gate, from the morning unto midday.
Right, so he spoke, he spoke for quite a time. A lot of you, if you complain about the amount of time certain classes are long, some classes, 3-4 hours, that's basically, minimum. That's because I kind of considered. But the spirit inside a man has always been able to speak for a lengthy amount of time, because that's sometimes what it takes to go into persuasion. Remember, we're dealing with a multitude of people. So you might get it now. Somebody else, it might take them a little longer. When you're having problems and when you're having troubles, you don't solve your problems within 2 or 3 hours. You know you don't. Sometimes it goes on for days. So if the Father has got a multitude of problems in the congregation, why are you complaining? Oh, it should be settled in 2 hours. Sometimes you make want to say, just go then. Don't quench the spirit because you feel some type of way. When you read the scriptures, these prophets, man, their spirit, it wasn't them that was speaking, it was the Most High that's speaking. Some want to break out, some be like, yo, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Because their spirit is being fed. This brother, he taught from the morning all the way up until midday. That's how the prophets were. It says before the men and the women and those that could understand. So people that have understanding, their spirit was willing to sit there and listen, because that's our lifestyle as Israelites. The scriptures teach us it's better to hear the rebuke of the wise than a song of fools. Okay? So read the next part. And
the ears of all the people were attentive unto the book of the law.
Right, so listen how the people felt. They were attentive. They didn't have to be coached back to pay attention. Pay attention. They didn't have to. They made themselves attentive, because they were trying to figure out what's going on. What part can I take? Hurry up and put it down, son. Put it away. See? When y'all see that, y'all correct that. I just don't have me to stop and say something to somebody across the room. That's a little rattling. That's quenching the spirit. I try to ignore it, but if it gets excessive, then I have to say something. But they were attentive. Their mind was there. Their spirit was there. And they were like one man. They all collectively together was interested. And that's how the congregation has to be. The assembly has to be like that. When it's like that, you're going to grow together. The Most High going to pour upon you all the different talents and all the different gifts that it's going to take to make this general assembly the example inside of this earth, and the church that's truly after God. So when it says the Israel of God, meaning the Israel that's after the Most High. Not the Israel that's after the world, but the Israel that's after the mind and soul and heart and spirit of the Most High. Okay? You get that spirit by being attentive. Okay? Not ducking off to the kitchen, ducking off to the toilet, things like that. Ducking off, I'm on the cell phone. Let me see how many hours, how many minutes I can burn. I'm not saying anybody do that, but how many minutes I can burn before, I realize I'm missed or something like that. That's not the spirit right there. The spirit is supposed to be attentive. Okay? Go ahead.
Verse 4. And Ezra the scribe stood upon a pulpit of wood, which they had made for the purpose. So
remember, he's out in the street teaching. So who ordained this for him to be out there teaching? The Most High did that. So for people that talk bad about Israel that go out there teaching, you talking bad about something that the Most High created. He stood up on a pulpit award. Go ahead.
And beside him stood Mattathiah, and Shema, and Ananiah, and Uriah, and Hilkiah, and Mishael on his right hand.
All right, so you saw him standing and brothers on his side. They were not gangbangers. They were ministers of the Most High, and they were out there teaching the laws. When somebody asked us, they said, what are y'all doing? I said, we're teaching the laws. Go ahead.
And on his left hand, Pedaiah, and Mishael, and Milkiah, and Hashum, and Hasdana, and Zechariah, and Meshullam.
So you're not supposed to be ashamed to support us because you see it. We standing out there, and brothers on the left and brothers on the right. Israel is so out of whack. These people knew that they were Israelites, and that's why they came. And at first they were sitting, but they came to hear it and to be attentive. Our people are so far gone now. We don't stand. We have a reader here and a reader there and a speaker, and everybody else go out there and get them. We go out there talking to them. We go out there here giving them flyer. You know what I'm saying? Hoping that, I don't want to intrude on you, because to them, they're like, what is this? This is completely strange. Hoping that, okay, this is what we're doing. Read the flyer. And it does bring forth fruit, because, believe it or not, people all the time, they'll come back and say, hey, I got a flyer. Or they'll call and say, I got a flyer. I want to know more. But if we stood there like this and we just spoke, some will come, majority, they'll just keep on going, because the society has taught them something different. The society has taught them that this is the church. Society has taught them that that's the church. Now the church was standing there, okay, with Ezra and Nehemiah and those prophets. That's the church. The church is standing out there. That's the people. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 5. And Ezra opened the book in the sight of all the people.
That's why you see us out there with a book. The book is opened. Go ahead.
For he was above all the people. And when he opened it, all the people stood up. And Ezra blessed the Lord, the great God. And all the people answered, Amen, Amen, with lifting up their hands, and they bowed their heads and worshiped the Lord with their faces to the ground. Also Jeshua and Benai and Sherebiah and Jamin and Akub and Shabbathiah and Hodijah and Masaiah.
So look at all these brothers that's out there. It's a lot of men that's out there doing what? Trying to teach Israel the laws, so that they can listen, so that they can hear, so that we could appease the wrath of the Most High by changing our behavior. That's the whole purpose of bringing out the laws, to change the behavior. Okay? They could have said, the red man existed. They could have sit up there and taught, the red man is the devil the Bible talks about. He was the devil then. But what did they teach? They taught the laws. Because according to the scriptures, they're a problem to us, but not unto the Most High. The Lord said he would have soon subdued our enemies. All we would have to do is humble ourselves unto him and to his commandments. So what do? Do we go after our enemies, or do we go after our people and say, hey, that you need to repent, and the Father will take care of our enemies? Okay, go ahead.
And Kalidah, and Azariah, and Jozabad, and Hanan, and Peliah, and the Levites, caused the people to understand the law.
Caused the people to understand the law. It's a very important part coming up. So we have to cause the people to understand the law, not just give them the law. I'll give you an example. You tell somebody about the Sabbath, then you go into the law pertaining to the Sabbath. Okay? You might tell them about heating. Believe it or not, someone asked me just this morning, oh, I can't use the microwave. I said, no, you can't use the microwave. Oh, well, F it then. I might as well fast. I say, easy and watch it. It's the most I see it. And hear what you're doing, what you're talking about. Where your heart is, that's where your treasure is. The Most High will judge you. You know, don't hate, you know. Don't hate the law. So then you would have to help them to explain, you know. Have them, what did it say?
And cause the people to understand the law.
And cause the people to understand the law. Okay? Why the Most High said rest? So that we could be refreshed. So when he said not to do it, that's just an example. So that you could be refreshed. You understand? You can give your body a break from standing over the hot stove, or, you know, and honor him, respect him, think about him, take time off from your personal life to obey him, to serve him, to learn the laws. So then you wouldn't use a pot, a kettle, a crock pot, a microwave, any type of heating element to prepare your food. You know, you could learn to prepare before time and then have those things already laid up in store for you. And then you can just get those things. They're not gonna spoil you. You don't have to worry about refrigerating them or nothing, because you want them to be like room temperature. They don't have to be chilled or anything. So that's just help them to understand. So when we're out there, that's what we're doing. We're helping people to understand the law of the Most High. And whatever the Spirit lead us, you know, the people naturally will have questions. So then it might be concerning marriage, it might be concerning smoking, it might be concerning the diet, the food. We will have them to help them to understand the law, you know. So that's your job, to help people to understand the job. But we have to understand who are we helping and how far do we go, and what are some of the signs, and we're going to get into that. What are some of the signs that I should move on? Okay, the next person is going to do a job. That's how I personally go about it. Because when you read the 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter, it's a 3-step process. It involves 2 other people. One person plant, another water. God get the increase. So all you got to do, once you say something, it doesn't matter who it is. They know you said it to them. You keep moving. So the Most High would then send somebody else to say the same thing. Quite often, you know, today some lady was like, we gave her a flight. Yeah, I was just had somebody in my front room talking to me about it. I said, good, did you listen? Well. I said, okay. He said, Jesus this, Jesus that. I said, you talking about black Jesus? Well, I love Jesus the Spirit. I said, didn't his Spirit have a body? Well, I just love the Spirit. I'm in love with the Spirit. I said, didn't he have a body? Christianity have a whole, Satan, let's call it Satan. Satan have a whole, you know, so hard and so tough on our people that it takes, you know how it takes a village to raise a child? It takes a village to knock down, you know, these strongholds. And it also takes patience and it takes time. So somebody planted a seed, then I came in and watered. I didn't knock the person. I said, you should listen to him then. You know, so one man planted, another man watered. God get the increase. Now, she's going to be driving down the street. Now she got it. You're going to be ignorant, or you're going to really realize that this man did have a color. He did have a body. You saying you in love with the Spirit. What about his flesh? He had flesh. Then he walked in flesh, and he was a man of color. So the Most High would help increase that. So don't, you know, stop the bickering and fussing and fighting with somebody. Give it to them, and then move on. Help them to understand what you can help them to understand, and then leave it to somebody else to help you out. Okay? Go ahead.
And the people stood in their place.
Right, and the people stood there and they listened to it. That's what it means by they stood in that place. They stood there and listened to the laws. Go ahead.
So they read in the book of the law of God distinctly and gave the sense.
Right. What does it mean by distinctly? They could have went into all different, into their mind. They could have went into other books, other writings, the nations. They could have went into anything, but they read in the book of the law distinctly. They mean specifically. And that's why you see we stay from Genesis to Revelations. We stay in the book of the law distinctly. And if you do that, that's going to make you better at it. It should. It should give you an understanding. Don't supplement your ignorance or your lack of spirit with some form of different education. The scriptures say oppose oppositions of science. Oppose that. Oppose that mentality. So-called. But distinctly stay into the book of the law. Because after you keep pondering and going over the law over and over and into your mind, it's supposed to agitate the uncleanness that we're going through. Rough it up and wash it away. Okay? And then what?
And gave the sense.
And gave the sense. So a lot of times, and remember we were out last week, and the young brothers, they didn't understand. He kept saying, no, you're adding. That's what, that's what you're saying. Those are your words. Because we were explaining to someone before about the slavery and the signs. And he was so far into the world that he didn't understand that we have to give you the sense. We have to tell you what this stuff means. We can bring it up to today. You're working, you cursed in the field. Well, what is the field? That was a literal field. Our people work cotton field, sugar field, bean field, corn field. So you was cursed in that field. You ever seen a picture with Chinese people where they were cursed in the field? You can see them over in China working in the field, in Thailand and all of that, but they own those fields. They're not cursed in those fields. You see the red man working the field. He's got a tractor. He's making millions of dollars. He's not cursed in that field. But you see the so-called Negro working them fields. He ain't come out of there with nothing. He lost his life and gave his children to the plantation holder. That's a curse right there. And then we were still hung in those same trees that bordered the field. Cursed be he that hangeth from a tree, man. Those curses fit us. They don't fit no other people. So we have to make the sense out of these things when we're explaining certain things to people. And when they not hearing the sense that you're making, you can't beat it into their head. You got to keep moving. Oh, okay. Somebody else, the Father will send another servant unto you. I've done my job. Go ahead.
And cause them to understand the reading.
Right, and cause them to understand the reading. So that's our effort. Go ahead.
And Nehemiah, which is the Tershitha, and Ezra the priest, the scribe, and the Levites that taught the people, said unto all the people, this day is holy unto the Lord your God. Mourn not, nor weep, for all the people wept when they heard the words of the law.
Check it out. What's the spirit of them? They had a broken and contrite heart. So the Most High didn't despise them. How do you think the Father feels when Israel, when they hear the laws, but they don't feel no type of remorse? Neither do they really want to hear it. How does, according to the scriptures, how does the Most High look at them? According to the scriptures. I answer, you got the precept? The answer is in Proverbs. Proverbs 28. there. Soldier. Go ahead.
13.
9.
Proverbs 28 and 9. He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be abomination.
Right. So remember, we read Nehemiah chapter, was that 8 and 9. It says the people wept when they heard the words of the laws. But then in today's world and society, we have people that would turn away their ear from even hearing the laws. I don't want to hear that. Did y'all see the one picture I posted? Those of you that are Facebookers, where we were in Chicago, and I never noticed it until I think I had the screenshot it. I was doing something, messing with the videos, and the woman was walking by, and she was like this. She stopped her ears up. So who's gonna hear her prayer? You know, Most High told us, go to Zechariah. Zechariah 7 and verse 11. But finishing Proverbs 28 and 9, that's the last thing that we want to do. Personally, we don't want to turn our ears away from hearing the law. We don't want to turn our ears away from being corrected. Whether somebody say something to you, say for instance, if you were a man and you got a bald head, and somebody say, hey, brother, the law says that you cannot have a bald head. Well, he's bald in the front, and he wants to even it up. You can't turn your ears away from hearing that. The Most High said that's clean. Balding is clean. What's unclean is when you shave the rest of it. So you take the lather, you lather your head all up, and you shave it. If you got hair, you must have hair. You cannot have bald spots on your head. You can't have bald spots. You can't do the ballpoint fade. I'm going to fade it from here all the way up and then blend it in and have hair. And then that's within the law. That's wrong right there. You have transgressed the law of the Most High. So you can't do that. So brothers that are bald or going bald, you got to suffer with that. Okay? So and neither can you turn your ear away from hearing that law. And the next time you go to the shop, then you do it anyway. Then you just ignored it. Okay, now we'll go to Zechariah 7 and 11.
This is Zechariah 7 and 11. But they refuse to hearken.
Right, but they refuse to hearken. You tell them, and you wonder, why won't they listen? They're refusing to listen. Go ahead.
And pulled away the shoulder.
Right, the Lord said they pulled away the shoulder, man. You try to tell them, they pull away the shoulder. They don't want to have nothing to do with what you're trying to tell them. Why? Because they have to change. They have to change, and Israel don't want to change. It's called love of the world, which the Father said, don't love the world. We're not supposed to love this world. What about the world we're not supposed to love? It's not talking about hate the seasons. Some of you hate the seasons. Oh, I hate the rainy season. I hate the snow. I hate the sun. It's not talking about that. The world is talking about is the word of sin. Hate sin. Love not the world. You're supposed to hate sin. All right? They refused to hearken and pulled away the shoulder. Go ahead.
And stopped their ears that they should not hear.
Right. So when I saw that picture, that that precept goes with that. Shows the woman was walking past the camp and stopped both ears up so that she couldn't hear the prophets prophesying, bringing out the laws. Go ahead.
Yea, they made their hearts as an adamant stone.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Lord said, you like, is she really doing that? Are they really doing that? Yeah. Yeah. The Lord said, yeah. In their mind, you can't see the mind, but the mind is like, you don't see they thinking like that. But because the laws are coming out and you saying that they can't do that, whether they can't have bald head, they can't have jungle fever, they can't have barbecue pig snouts, they can't defy the Sabbath, they can't wear pants, man, you can't wear a dress, you understand? You can't have a lineup, you can't do this, you can't do that. The inside of their heart, the Lord said, they getting tough with you. They getting tough. And you don't know that. And that's why you got to back down. Because they getting what with you? And you don't see it. They getting tough with you. And if you're not careful, they'll be thinking about laying hands on you. A lot of you don't know or understand that. You know that it's good. And a lot of us has been spared by the Most High. Israel, you got to be careful. The Lord said, when they have their heart as an adamant stone, they getting tough. Their heart is hard. It ain't the same person. You hit a nerve. You hurt them deeply. And they be possessed. Go ahead.
Least they should hear the law.
Right, least so they give place to the spirits. And so at least they should hear the law. Go ahead.
And the words which the Lord of hosts hath sent in his spirit by the form of prophets.
Right. Which the Lord have sent. So it's the Most High that sent those words in his spirit. Okay, so it's like his signet. All right? You should know it because you should know the spirit of that person. You should know their behavior. Then it says, by the prophets, by the former prophets. Go ahead.
Therefore came a great wrath from the Lord of hosts.
Right. That's what comes on them. So that's what's next. After turning away your ear from hearing the law and doing what you want to do, the Lord said, great wrath is coming. Go ahead.
Therefore it is come to pass that as he cried, they would not hear it.
How did he cry? Remember, using his prophets, right? He cried. Just like we saw Ezra, and he had all those prophets on one side, and then prophets on the other side, and then they were out there prophesying, and they were teaching and bringing out the laws and making sense of it. Everybody that had an attentive ear and all of that, that was the Father that was crying out. Even now today, let's say the Israelites that are all over, whatever color they were, whatever they call themselves, they're prophesying in the name of the Most High. The ones, let's say the ones that are getting, they gotten it close to right, they're getting it right. Okay. He's crying out. And a lot of Israelites are not listening. Great wrath are going to fall upon them. It doesn't, with God, there are no respect of persons. It doesn't matter if it's your father, if it's your mother, if it's sister or brother. It doesn't matter. And we read in the beginning, in 1 Peter 4, that the judgment, it starts with the righteous at the house of God. Meaning the assemblies of Israel that say that, hey, I know him, I'm keeping his commandments. So then he's going to judge us in those things that we know. Is it bad to say I know and I'm keeping his commandments? That's not bad. You're supposed to be like, I know him, I'm keeping the commandments. Because that's your life. The more commandments you keep, the better your life's supposed to be. Because we get judged for breaking the commandments. What if, let's use, it's a commandment that says, thou shalt not steal. And so, knowing that commandment is going to keep you out of prison. It's going to keep you out of jail. It's going to keep you from having stitches because because when you steal somebody's stuff, you know, and they hit you with a pipe or a bat or something, you're going to get some stitches. Or they shoot you because you stole their stuff. You're going to get some stitches. You're going to be jacked up really, really bad, man. So it's a good thing to know that commandment and know all the precepts and the laws pertaining to, hey, how do I engage somebody else's stuff? How do we engage somebody else's stuff? First of all, you don't. And if you happen to find it, let me show you the law on how to deal with it. Let's go to Leviticus. Let's see.
Well, it's Exodus 23.
I want Deuteronomy 22. Deuteronomy 22. And I'll come back because it is something I want in Leviticus 6, but we'll get this one first. Deuteronomy 22. And verse 1. So this is how do I engage somebody else's stuff? It says, thou shalt not see thy neighbor's ox or sheep go astray, and hide thyself from them. Thou shalt in any case bring them again unto thy neighbor. Why is it saying ox and sheep? Because at that time, we were farmers. Is that country to have sheep and ox and cattle? That's wealth. No. Say no. No, because when you go to the grocery store, what do you buy? Don't you buy sheep and ox and cattle and meat? That's right. And you think that the people that have this meat, surely they are rich, right? Right, they are. So you just lost your riches. But you had that. So now instead of that, you're down to the basic necessities. A coat, a purse, something to carry your own personal belongings, a hat, a pair of gloves. You understand? You're down to the bare necessities. We just don't really realize that. You see that stuff, you know, it says, hide not thyself, thou shalt in any wise bring them again unto thy brother. So in other words, you would return the stuff unto the person and not have a covetous spirit like, hey, I'm going to keep this forever. If thy brother be not nigh unto thee, or if thou know him not, then thou shalt bring it unto thy house, to thy own house, and it shall be with thee unto thy brother seeking. So say, for instance, if you find something and you say, oh, I found this. And then, now, here's a question. Do we find a car, kind of like, what is it, STS or something? I found an STS. Look outside. No. No, you don't find that. Okay? But there are certain things that you can find. You know, a wallet, a jacket, a purse, a ring, a dog, you know, a beast, you know, a dog. You can find certain things like that. So it says, it shall be with thee until thy brother seek after it. And so then you might hear somebody looking for it. Thou shalt restore it to him again. Do we understand what that means? Give it back. Give it back. Your children. Now, I found a bicycle. It's in a sidewalk, or left at the park. I found a ball. Whatever. The scriptures say give it back. Things like that. That's the type of stuff within the law that we have to learn. And we have to actually apply and execute. That makes, you know, that makes us righteous. Okay? Excuse me. Leviticus 6. Six and 1.
This is Leviticus chapter 6 and 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, if a soul sin and commit a trespass against the Lord, and lie unto his neighbor in that which was delivered to him to keep.
Right. So this is a sin. Somebody give you something to keep. Go ahead.
Or in fellowship.
Right. Or in some type of dealings. That's what the fellowship is. There's some type of dealings. And they keep their word, but you don't keep yours. Go ahead.
Or in a thing taken away by violence, or have deceived his neighbor, or have found that which was lost, and lied concerning it, and swear falsely in any of all these, that a man doeth, sinning therein.
Right, you would. You take it by violence, you deceive your neighbor, you trick them out of it, you have found it because it was lost, you find it, and lie concerning it. I don't have it, I ain't seen it, or whatever. And then you swear falsely. You give a person your word that you don't have it. It says in any of all of these things that a man doeth, you sin it. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Then it shall be, because he hath sinned and is guilty.
Right, he's guilty. Go ahead.
That he shall restore that which he took violently away, or the thing which he had deceitfully gotten.
Right, just because you violently take something away, that's another word for what? Who knows what that is? Don't we start guessing, either you know or you don't know. Violently take it.
Armed robbery.
It's another word for it. Well, okay, so we don't swag them. Strong arm. You know, strong arm is when you take something without a weapon. You know, because it didn't, you know, no weapon was used. But when you're violent, you can use a weapon. So I'm not ruling it out. But trust and believe, some people can strong arm take certain things. All they got to do is intimidate you, use force, and they'll just take it from you. And because of fear, you don't want to pound it, you don't want your eye blacked, you know, you just say, here man, just take it. It ain't even worth you beating me up over it. You know, I don't want to be roughed up, take it. And then there you go, you know, so. All right, and trust and believe, things like that happen. They see children, they take them off the bike. They see somebody, you know, they try, Debo, take their goods from them. You know, older guys, they see the younger boys, they pat them down. You know, you go in their pocket, you know, that's violently taken, man. And or it says, or the thing which he deceitfully have gotten. Okay, you deceive somebody out of it. Let me get a ride, little man. Or throw it to me. What's that picture we was watching? Throw me the football, fat boy. I ain't gonna take your stuff. Boys in the hood, they took it anyway. They throwing the ball, they turn and laugh and throw it to their friends and they walk away with it. He deceitfully got it. Okay? Or that which he was delivered to him, what? To keep. Okay? Somebody will trust you with certain things. Say, hey man, hold this for me. You like it so much, you don't want to give it back. Or the lost thing which he found. Or you could possibly even find something that was lost. Okay? Go ahead.
Or all that about which he hath sworn falsely, he shall even restore it the principle.
So do you know what that means? That means unanswered. That's what that means. That's what my mom used to say. Get your off of me. Give it up. Restore it the principle. So restoring it the principle meaning, check this out. The exact amount that it costs, the exact value of the thing that it's worth, you owe that. You owe that. So, according to the scriptures, it's best that you don't even touch it at all because you're going to be out so much more than you even bargained from because it's not over with. You're going to restore the principle. Go ahead.
And shall add the 5th part more thereto.
So then you're going to have to add another part. So 4 parts is a whole. Now you got to add a 5th part to it. So now you're going to have to give this man pain and suffering. A 5th part. Pain and suffering. Okay? So if something was worth $400 and you beat him out of it, in any of these ways, you got to owe him, give him $400 and the 5th part. That's another $100. Now you owe him $500. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Or give it unto him to whom it appeared.
No, not ain't no or. And give it unto him to whom it belongs to. That's the righteousness of the Most High in the law. So with this going to teach Israel to keep their hands off of other people's stuff because you owe big time. Go ahead.
Whom it appertained in the day of his trespass offering.
Right. When the day you come. So now, since we don't have an offering to come to, what day would that be? Hold on before you go so you get this answer. Y'all love to run in the restroom. I got some old men inside these young bodies. Weak bladders and all of that stuff. What's them Depends on? He's like 16 years old with Depends. I got the check. So, what else? So instead of being a trespass offering, what day is this? He said the Sabbath day? No. The same day? My question is, so it says, listen up. This is Leviticus chapter 6 and verse 5. It says, give it unto him, this is the last part, unto whom it appertaineth in the day of his trespass offering. So here, this day, you brought forth the offering. Your sin offering. You got corrected, you brought forth the sin offering. Now you're going to go. So what day is that bringing it up to today? No, not judgment day. Go. Your court date. You made it to the court, huh? You know the day that you realize that you're wrong, the day that you get corrected, that's the day you should be trying to make things good. That's the day. What if it's gonna break you? So it's gonna break you. Didn't it break that person? Didn't it hurt that person who you defrauded? Yes, it did. So the day that you humble yourself to realize that the scriptures is of a truth, and okay, dang, I apologize. So you bring forth the fruits of repentance. That day you're supposed to make it good and end that other man's suffering. That's the righteousness of the scriptures. And then you still got to deal with the Most High, because now you broke his commandments and transgressed the law of the Most High against another brother. So this day is when it happened, the day of the trespass, but now of the offering. But now we don't have offerings of young bullocks and things like that no more. So now, say for instance today you got corrected, we would expect you to go and make good your word and deal right with somebody and restore to them the $500. The $400 item plus the fifth part thereof. That is what? Thank you. That is the law. I'll give you, because it was used. You just gave place to Satan. Trying to make, yeah, I got it right backwards for y'all, so excuse me. I'm trying to make 75. That's it? No, that 7 don't look right.
It's the wrong.
Yeah. Oh, I give you 75 because I think it was used. And that's it. And he better be good with that. You won't fear the Most High then. This is set in place to correct your wickedness, and so that you never have to do it again. Because according to the law, it cost this man $400. You don't have it. You something happened to it. You were supposed to deal righteously with it. You was responsible. I teach Israel all the time. If you can't pay for it, leave it alone. If you can't be responsible for it, leave it alone. Don't even put your palms on it. You understand that? Because you will be liable. And the person, I know people, man, I've been doing this too long. The person gonna want you to be responsible, man. And if you can't be responsible and you ain't just tore their stuff up, then now it's friction between you and somebody else. So to alleviate that, all you gotta do is leave their stuff alone. Or have an understanding that if it crash and burn when it's in my hands, if it poofs and goes the heck off, you understand that I cannot afford to pay you $400, man. I just cannot afford to pay you $400. Do we have that understanding? I got the understanding, brother. It's cool. It's cool. Don't even worry about it. Okay, then. Now we can proceed from there. But other than that, you can't deal unjustly with somebody. Owe them the principal and the fifth part and deliver them $75. You have not repented. You don't fear the Most High. All right. So that's making the sense in the laws. Okay. So let's lose all of that. We get back on track. So we finished. We can be through with the Zechariah. What they do? They pulled away. Let's get that finished. That Zechariah 7. There are so many ways to where people, when they pull away the shoulder. Zechariah 7. And 11. So the Most High notices that. Now we read 12.
Zechariah 7 and 12. Yea, they made their hearts as an adamant stone, lest they should hear the law, and the words which the Lord of hosts had sent in his spirit by the former prophets. Therefore come a great wrath from the Lord of hosts.
Therefore come a great wrath. Came a great wrath. All right, so strange calamities fell upon Israel. And verse 13.
Therefore it is come to pass that as he cried, and they would not hear.
Right, that's what we went into, how he taught, but they didn't listen. So just like all of the details of the laws that we just went through, y'all supposed to remember that. You know, And I know you might not, because you're not used to anybody telling you to add the fifth part thereto. Don't get caught in the jam, and you won't have to worry about that. Okay? But go ahead.
So they cried, and I would not hear,
Right.
says the Lord.
So they cried. So we got in trouble, and the Lord will not answer our prayers. All right. So let's go to St. John 1. This shot. I got a water in the freezer with my name on it. Those other waters did y'all bring them from home? Okay, headshot, you can leave that for later and just get another one on the right side. St. John chapter 1 and verse 11.
This is John chapter 1 and verse 11. He came unto his own, and his own received him not.
Right, so Most High sent Christ to Israel and was speaking unto Israel through us. And Israel didn't receive him. Okay, so in its natural state, it's referring to when Christ did come. All right, but it's the same thing that happens now. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 12. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name.
All right, so now listen to this. It says, but to many as did receive him, to them, to those that did receive him, those are the ones that gonna have power. But what is the power? The power is going into the strength to actually keep the commandments, keep the things that are written, the ones that's gonna change. Your behavior is gonna change. Your thought process, your mind state, your application, okay, to become not just the sons, but also the sons and daughters of the Most High. It says, even to them that what believe. Okay, you're gonna believe on the word of the Most High. Okay, and the name of the Most High. Okay, verse 13.
Which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God.
Right, so we were born not of blood, so it has nothing to do with you related to somebody, nor the will of the flesh, strong desire, nor the will of man, meaning this is the fad. You know, everybody is doing it, so let me do it now. It doesn't work like that. So if we're wondering, well, why they don't listen, it's a spiritual thing. It's a high calling that comes from the Most High, and not just because you want somebody to do it. This birth that comes from the Most High is not something that we can will. We can have strong hopes, you know, you can pray, but the outcome is the Most High, is Him. That's why the last part says, but of God. Everybody see that? But of the Most High. Okay, read the next part.
Verse 14. And the Word was made flesh, and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth.
Right. So when we read that precept, that's talking about Christ and who else? In its natural state, it's talking about Christ and Christ only. In addition, who is that referring to as well?
Students of Christ.
The who?
The students of Christ.
What is that word?
Us as students.
As students.
Not his students.
His.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm listening. His students. Okay, right. It's talking about us. Okay, it's talking about us. Okay, read it again.
This is St. John 1 and 14. And the Word was made flesh, and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory. The glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth.
Is that it? All right. Philippians 2. Philippians chapter 2, and I'll read it, verse 1. So it says, if there be any consolation in Christ, if any comfort of love, if any fellowship of the Spirit, if any vows and mercies, fulfill ye my joy, that ye be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. So listen to the qualities, right? Because Christ was full of what? Grace and truth, okay? It says, look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. Now it says, let this mind be in you, which was also in who? In Christ, who being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be what? Equal with God, but made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men, and being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross. So now, verse 5 again, let this mind be in you. So now, go back to St. John chapter 1 and verse 14. So that mind is going to be in you. And when we read 1 Peter chapter 2, in 21 and 22, it tells us that Christ, he left us an example that we should follow. Now you read St. John chapter 1 and 14, and the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. In other words, the Bible came to life. So now the Bible, the words being inside of us, now the words are alive inside of us, and now we have to be on display using the words that are inside of us. Now they have to be a living example. So it says, and we beheld his glory. So how they beheld Christ's glory, now let's think about the present time. And it says, and we beheld his glory. Somebody have to behold something. So who is the we? And we beheld his glory. The Word was made flesh and dwelt, and we beheld his glory. Who is the we? Thinking about today's time, 2018. Who will be the we? The other people. And what would be the glory that they would see? They would see the Spirit that's inside of us. They have to see the Spirit, because now you are in Christ's stead. Christ is not here in the flesh. You are here now. Now that Word has to dwell inside of you. And that Word dwelling inside of you, it has to look just like Christ. People, they have to swear by, oh man, I swear the Lord spoke to me, man. I swear the Lord spoke to me. You understand? Because they need to actually see your transformation. But they can't see it if you don't know the way that the Most High deal. So the Most High don't deal in emotions. The Most High don't deal in affections. The Most High is a spirit. So the Most High deal according to what's written in the scriptures. And believing in the Most High, we're not going to go to the left or we're not going to go to the right, but we're going to put our faith in all our cause. We're going to trust everything that this is the way, the truth, and the life. This is how it's supposed to go. And when we make mistakes, that's why we got to have both eyes and ears open to the fellowship of the brotherhood to say, hey, a person then brother enough to step up and say, okay, brother, that's wrong in that thing. Or, hey, sister, this is wrong in that thing. So sisters with sisters, brothers with brothers, husband with your wives, and wives also with your husbands, and children up under your parents, okay? So now, we're going to finish this precept. St. John 1:14, and the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. In its natural state, that's how it was. The Bible came alive, and it walked. And that Bible was Yahushua. And Israel saw it. So now, in today's life, now it's us, okay? It says, and we beheld his glory. So now they have to see that glory in us, okay? The way to walk, the way to live. It says the glory of the only begotten what? Father. The spirit that come from the Father. They have to see that in us. Now when it says full of what? Grace and truth. So now grace is what? The way that we deal with our people according to the scriptures. What does grace do? Grace is a spirit that does what? Teaches. Right, teaches. We're not coming with the guillotine. Yo, brother, stick your head up under it. I'm going to chop your head off because you're ignorant and stupid as that. We ain't going down that path. We're going to turn into what? Graceful teachers. We're going to teach you. We're going to edify. We're going to understand. We're going to teach you to understand. And we're going to do it to the best of our ability, and we're going to keep it moving because this is a process that you're going to need help. You're going to need the village. You understand? Always remember Corinthians 3. One man planted, another man watered, the Father get the increase. So you don't get all jacked up because they didn't listen to what you said. Lose that, man. Lose that. It's not about you. It never was about us. It's about the Most High, and it's about Christ. Okay. So now, 2 Corinthians 4. Can you get a paper towel for me? The frozen water, bro. Okay. 2 Corinthians chapter 4. Verse 6. Stay with me, pay attention, don't get sidetracked. 2 Corinthians 4 and 6, reader.
2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 6. For God, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, hath shined in our hearts, to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ.
Right. Listen to it. What is this? This is talking about people who are already rejected to hear the word because it's coming from us. So there's a question. We say no more to them afterwards, right? And just let the Most High deal with them. Okay, good question. So somebody is asking now, is this talking about people who already rejected to hear the word because it's coming from us? Yes, it's talking about all people. It's talking about all people. It doesn't matter whether they hear it or not. If they reject it, you've done your job. If they receive it, you've done your job. You're only one part. We're only one part, okay? 1 Corinthians 3. We're going to come back to this because that just, it helped us out. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, just help you understand. And we'll get to the point, 1 Corinthians 3 and 6.
This is 1 Corinthians 3 and 6. I have planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase.
Right, three different, what do you call it? Stages, thank you. 3 different stages. I have planted. So, Jezreel, you planted. It doesn't matter whether they hear it or whether they forbear it. You planted. You know the seed that you planted is good. As long as you yourself is following the Most High in Christ to the best of your ability. You plant the seed and you keep moving. Then it says, Apollos water it. So it was Apollos then, because that was Paul's guy. It might be Ephraim. You understand? Another brother, your brother, somebody else. You know, we have to support. We have to support one another. You know, we cannot foolishly, like a lot of brothers, that they're the only ones that possess the truth. No, man. I'm sorry to tell you. You know, you're not the only ones that possess the truth. Christ is the truth, and the Spirit of Christ is inside the nation of Israel. Okay? Someone else will come along and reiterate what you said. That means they're going to water the thing, and they're going to remember what you said to them. They're going to think about you. Just like I said today in the camp. What made the woman tell me that someone was sitting in her house today saying the same thing? Because when she saw me, she thought about the person that planted the seed. So I said, okay, peace. I let her go. She didn't really receive it, but I let her go. Having faith in the Most High. That's the Most High's, you know, circumstance. If he wants to deal with her, my job is to do my job. So if he wants to give her the increase, then he gonna give her the increase. Okay. So now, but God gave the increase. Verse 7.
So then neither is he that planted anything, neither he that watered, but God that giveth the increase.
Right. So one is not more important than the other. In other words. So why are we trying to be super Hebrews? Well, what they call it. Super Hebrews, super Hebrews. Neither is he that planted anything. And sometimes we try our hardest to plant. I'm going to wake you up. Who? You're waking nobody up. We're not the person that opens we're not the opener up of an understanding. It doesn't work like that. Oh yeah, this brother woke me up. I heard it all the time, you know. No, the Father woke this man up. You just a vessel that he used to plant a seed. Just think about it. The person that originally you heard that you was an Israelite from, are they still around? In most cases, are they still around? You know, some yeah, some no. So what does that tell you? That person, you're not obligated to the person that planted the seed. Oh, that was my dude. You know, he woke me up. Your dude is, you know, saying he an Israelite, still, you know, he's still in sin. He can't let sin go. You feel obligated. You're not obligated. The Father woke you up because it was time. He said, wake up, my son. Wake up. You know, and he used this person. For whatever reason, he used that person. He used that person. You can't question the Most High. Brothers, I heard the truth from a long time ago. I don't know where them brothers at. I let them turn back into sin. But why did the Most High use them to this, and this? I don't even question that. That's above my pay grade. I'm getting paid to do what? Do what I'm doing now. I'm not getting paid to question the Most High on why he did this, and the third. I don't need to know everything. A lot of people think you need to know everything. You ain't gonna never know everything. Because if you know if you know everything, then you don't need who? Nobody else. All right, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that, man. All right. So now, he that planted. Oh, we didn't get that part yet. So it says neither. So in 1 Corinthians 3:7, neither he that planted, but God that giveth the increase. So it's all about the Most High. Okay. Now he that planted and he that watered are one, and every man shall receive his what? His own reward. So do your job according to his own labor. We are laborers how? Together with the Father. And you, meaning they, are the Most High's forestry, husbandry, tillage. And we are the building. Okay, so now let's go back to 2 Corinthians chapter 4. And 6
This is 2 Corinthians 4 and 6. For God, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, hath shined in our hearts, to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ.
So 2 ways it happened. The first way is its original content. For the Father commanded the light to shine out of darkness. Okay. Genesis 1 tell you that the Most High said, let there be light, and there was light. Second content, we were in sin. The Most High shined the light, gave us the laws. Third content, now we become the light, and we're going to shine the darkness unto our people. Have shined it into our hearts. Okay? It says to give light. So now our job is to give light. Our job is to give light to others. It says of what? The knowledge of the glory of the Most High. Okay? In the face of Christ. What do you think that means, in the face of Christ? Shine in our hearts to give light of the knowledge of the glory of the Most High. In the face of Christ. If somebody say, you don't do this in my face, what are they saying there? You're doing it right in front of them. So if you're going to shine as lights to give the knowledge of the glory of the Most High in the face of Christ, who are you going to be doing it in front of? Right, you're going to be doing it in front of Christ. That means you can't X Christ out. Christ is included because Christ is over you. You're doing it in the face of Christ. Okay? Everybody clear, understand so far? Right, there's no getting out of Christ. Because Christ did the will of the Father. And doing the will of the Father, he was a mind well instructed. No matter, even in his sufferings all the way up unto death. So Christ got us all beat because he never did sin. Okay? Verse 7.
But we have this treasure in earthen vessels.
In earthen vessels, we have this treasure. What treasure is that? The light, the knowledge. In earthen vessels. So it's not just out in thin air. It's not only in heaven, but it's inside of our spirit. It's inside of our body. And we got to use it and do something with it. We got to know how to possess this power that we have. Because we got the power to make, we got the power to break. How do you make somebody? Well, you have the power to make. How do you make? By encouraging, help, being a good example, by teaching and instructing. How do you break somebody? By misleading them. Okay, setting a piss poor example, breaking the laws, and our bad leadership, you know. That's how you can break somebody. Leading them astray, teaching them to sin. That the excellency of the power, meaning the ability that you have, it might be of God and not of us, meaning it's not you. So all praises to the Most High that you have the ability to do what? Help somebody understand their path, the light that's inside of you. So everybody following along still, right? Right. So it's not about us. Now, the way to do it is to do it the way that you're being taught. So sometimes you don't have to put the pedal to the metal. Sometimes you have to just ease up and let them come back around. Give it to them and let them go home in peace. You're not going to recover somebody overnight. Boom. Overnight. Today, you'll teach them the whole scriptures, everything. You're just going to confuse them. Okay? Because that power is not of you. The excellent way for you to deal is of the Most High. And I know I don't want to leave them in sin. I don't want to leave them in sin. I don't want them to die. There you go again, being emotions. What you want. This is a chosen lineage that the Most High is calling back unto him. We first have to make our call and election sure. And once we have the confidence that we feel like I am a called vessel of the Most High, at that point, now we're going to know how to control ourselves and rule our spirit and do things according to the order of the scriptures and not be all over the place, taking it personal, getting into fights. You severing relationships that they didn't even have to be at odds. Sometimes I hear from people and I'm like, well, that sounds sensible. You didn't even have to be at odds. You went overboard. You said some things that probably didn't need to be said. You pressed when you didn't have to press. You didn't deal charitable. But they wasn't keeping the laws. They ain't gonna keep it tomorrow either. You didn't change that fact. So you're supposed to be an example of the excellent power that's inside of you. Let them come looking for you. Let now somebody else do the job. Then they'll come right back around through the Spirit of the Most High and say, hey, what's that you were saying? He already said that the last gonna be first. He gonna lift you up. He giving you all of this. Okay, verse 8.
We are troubled on every side.
Right. You're gonna get into trouble. You are troubled on every side. The trouble that you're getting into is because of the word. Not because of sin, but in this case, running your mouth, talk, the ministry. Sometimes bad, sometimes good. Okay? You can mean well, and because somebody is an unbeliever, they'll bring trouble onto you. We're troubled on every side. Go ahead.
Yet not distressed.
Yet we don't take it personal. The root word of distress is stressed. Oh, I'm not stressed out about it. You run into this and now you don't want to do it no more because people don't what? Listen. Don't let them stress you out because they don't want to believe. Why my family, they don't want to believe, and now they talking crazy about me and all this, and they got you. They got to you. Okay? Go ahead.
We are perplexed, but not in despair.
Right. What is perplexed?
You can't believe it.
Right. Something of that. Let's get it. You don't know how to work a thermostat, Jack? Yeah, do you have it on or auto?
It's just it says the temperature is 79, so you have to turn all the way up to 80 to cut it off. Then it goes high.
No, then you turn up to 80 then. Okay, perplexed. It says very baffled, completely baffled, or very puzzled. Okay, puzzled. Sometimes don't we be puzzled? Y'all know what a puzzle is? All these different pieces and parts. Like, how do I put this together? But not in despair. Meaning, by any means that we feel like we're helpless. Verse 9.
Persecuted, but not forsaken.
Right, persecuted. Who's persecuting us?
The people that surround us nowadays.
Exactly right. People. People will persecute you. Okay? Persecuted, but what?
Not forsaken.
Right. Not forsaken. Meaning just because you get persecuted by other people, that doesn't mean that the Most High is not looking. A lot of these things happen for what purposes?
Experience to teach somebody else.
Yeah, for experience purposes. We got all the answers today, young man. Give somebody another chance. So, but not forsaken. So, a lot of times people will feel like the Most High is angry at them because people are there being denial, people will come up against you, people are this, and this. You'll feel persecuted. They don't want to hear it, they talk bad, they curse you out, they call you fool, they say you're in a cough, they blame it on that man. They doing all these different things, right? You're persecuted. And you would think that, then they'll be like, well, if that's the truth, then they'll, they demonic, so. And then having Satan on them, so they have the ability to be cunning. Satan is very cunning, crafty, subtle. Well, if this is the truth, then why are you sick? Why'd you get sick? If that's the truth, then why'd you lose your job? If this is the truth, then why are you not with your baby's daddy? Why are you not with your husband? If this is the truth, then why your car break? If this is the truth, why this and this and this? Then so Satan will be targeting you, and you will be what? Puzzled at the same time. That's the perplexed part. But when it says not in despair, it's not like you don't have help available to help you through those things, through that what? Persecution, perplexing part, right? And it says, but not forsaken. So the Most High is not gone because you're going through those things. It's cast down, but not destroyed. Sometimes when something is cast down, it's at a very low state. You might feel like this is the bottom. What else can go wrong? Just go ahead and crush me. At this point, you go kick me and I'm down. You're going through certain things, kick it. Kick me, I'm down. You know what I'm saying? But the Lord said, you're not destroyed. Okay? What is that? Hebrews. Hebrews 5. Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 8.
This is Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 8.
Yeah, wait a second. Okay.
Hebrews 5 and 8. Though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered.
Right. So this is what the scriptures is teaching us about Christ. It says, though he were a son, though he were cast down, he felt like this. The scriptures say he learned obedience by the things that he suffered. Just like each and every last person that's walking on two legs. Everybody on the face of the earth. It's just, I'm dealing with Israel. We're going to suffer persecution. We're going to go through things. And everything that we suffer to please our Father, the power of Israel, we're going to be trying to make things right while we're in our what? Sufferings. Let's go to the book of Hosea. Zechariah in their affliction. Lamentations 5 and 11. Okay. Lamentations. Hosea 5 and 15. Okay. Hosea, I'm sorry, y'all.
This is Hosea chapter 5 and verse 15.
So now I'll bring us back up and give us Hosea. So this is, what's this? Hebrews chapter 5 and 8. Though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things that he suffered. So the Father will allow us to suffer to teach us obedience, to keep us in line. Okay? So now this is 1 Corinthians chapter 4, 2 Corinthians 4 and 9. Persecuted, but not forsaken, cast down, but not destroyed. So when in the midst of we're going through certain things, we go through those things because the Most High is teaching us order, discipline, and teaching us to come back and seek Him. And He's going to show, and so He can show us the good way, Now, Hosea 5 and verse 15.
This is Hosea chapter 5 and 15. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early.
Right. So the Father is asking Israel, why are we feeling afflicted, to seek him. Okay? For us to acknowledge our offense. Read the next verse.
Verse Hosea 6 and 1. Come, let us return unto the Lord, for he hath torn.
Right. For he hath torn, he hath cast down, but not destroyed us. Go ahead.
And he will heal us.
And he will heal us. Okay. Go ahead.
He hath smitten.
Right. He hath cast down, but not destroyed us. Go ahead.
And he will bind us up.
Right. He will bind us up. Okay. So let's go back to 2 Corinthians chapter 4. Now, Shalom Shabbat. So now my question is, the ones that we're trying to, witness, testify, prophesy to, teach, is this them or is this us? Is this them or is this us? Trick question. Is this them or is this us? This is us. This is how you feel. Okay, go ahead. Verse 10.
2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 10. Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord, Yahushua.
Stop. Put your eyes on it. Okay. Read that part again.
This is 2 Corinthians 4 and 10. Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord Yahushua, that the life also of Yahushua might be made manifest in our body.
So the first part, always bearing about in the body. This is talking about us, in our body. It's talking about our life. Okay, us. We're always what? Catching hell. So this explains the stuff that you go through dealing with other people. Dealing with other people, the fight, the struggle to not deal, to come up out of sin, have your mind right. You gonna go through this hell. All right, now stay with me. Why? That the life also of Christ may be made manifest in our body. That the life without what? Sin. So why are we catching hell? Because the Most High is saying, hey, I want you to stop sinning. We still speaking. We speaking from experience. But he's still doing what? He purging us, cleansing us on a personal level from him to us. Because there's always room for improvement. We got to judge the world. So if we got to judge the world, we got to be right. We got to be how perfect. And what better way to get perfect is to always keep you in a furnace that's going to be adverse, adverse your sin, your faults. So if you don't want that hell, that trouble, that adverse, get rid of sin. Stop sinning. Stop breaking the law. Always, you know what I'm saying? know the level that's required of you and be seeking that instead of trying to yield yourself serving to some form of sin. I know I'm talking loud, I'm fast, but you got to keep up. You got to try to understand it. Okay? So now, that the life also of Christ might be manifest in our body. It has to be seen. Why? Because we have to be teachers of good things. Remember when we read Psalms, then shall what? Sinners be turned unto thee. Right? Verse 11.
For we which live are always delivered unto death for Yahweh's sake.
What is that always delivered unto death? Read that part again.
This is 2 Corinthians 4 and 11. For we which are always delivered unto death for Yahweh's sake.
What is always delivered unto death? That's right. Yeah. The old man being crucified. The old man being crucified. You got to kill that. You got to kill that. You got to kill those ways. Once you kill some, I guarantee you, everybody that has died, listen, everybody that has died has felt the sting of death. They didn't like it. They felt the sting of death. They didn't like it. They suffocated. They stopped breathing. Their mind probably blew up in their skull. Your heart pop, bam. You understand? Lungs crushed. That hurts. You understand? Every time, for every sin that you got to turn down and you got to get rid of, you're going to have to feel a death pertaining to it. That's why it says, where'd you live at?
Verse 11.
For we which live are always delivered unto death. That's what that means. You're always delivered unto death. Okay? For Christ's sake, so that we can be called the follower of Christ. We got to be found faithful. We are the stewards and ministers of Yahushua, whom the world calls Jesus. That the life also of Yahushua might be made manifest in our mortal flesh. Even though when people be like, oh, we're in sin, we're born in sin, this, that, and the other, you sound like a wacko to somebody that's trying and that have been keep dying. You sound foolish to me. You mean I'm dying for nothing? You understand? I killed murder. I killed lust. I killed covetous. I killed defiling the Sabbath. You understand? Every old man that the Father has showed me, every spirit I'm trying to kill. I'm based upon you that's in sin, that's going to be judged for that. I'm dying for no reason. I'm not dying for a reason. I'm dying for a cause, that the life of Christ might be seen in my mortal flesh. That's what you're experiencing. That's why you have to die. Everything about you have to die so this life of Christ can be seen in you. When somebody look at you, they're going to be like, that's a person that believes and follows the Most High in Christ. That's a servant of Christ. That's a servant of the Most High. You worship the Lord. You follow. Your life, your actions. Okay, James. James chapter 2 and verse 17.
This is James chapter 2 and verse 17. Even so faith, if it hath not works, is dead being alone.
Go ahead.
Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works.
Jump down to verse. Just keep going.
Verse 19. Thou believest that there is one God. Thou doest well. The devils also believe.
And you witness that every time you see somebody, James 3 and 19, 2 and 19, 2 and 19, you witness it every time you see somebody that's lawless be saying that they believe in God. There be devils inside of them. They just be trying to convince you that you're wasting your time and you got it all wrong. Why? They trying to say the way of sin is the truth. Okay? Whosoever sin is of the devil. Thou believest that there is one God, thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. Go ahead.
But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead?
Go ahead.
Was not Abraham our father justified by works when he offered Isaac his son upon the altar? Seest thou how faith wrought with his works, and by works was faith made perfect?
Exactly. So you can't have faith without works. We got to have our works. Okay, let's go back. 2 Corinthians chapter 4. Second Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 12.
2 Corinthians 4:12. So then death worketh in us, but life in you.
What does that mean? So then death working in us, but life in you. What is that, Dre?
What's killing the old person, and then life working you, telling people that is living how they want to live.
Okay, you got half of it, right? You want to think again? The first part. Read it, and maybe, you know. And then I'll tell y'all something. When y'all trying to understand something, you can just say a short prayer. Lord, give this to me. Help me to understand this. I do it all the time. Help me to understand this. What is this talking about? And right then and there, the Spirit will enter into you, man, and help you understand. Give it a shot. So then death worketh in me, death worketh in us, but life in you. Read it and explain it. Nice and loud.
Book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
So then death worketh in us, but life in you.
So you have to be wondering, what could that be talking about? You got the first part. What is the first part?
Us killing the old person.
Okay. Death worketh in us. Us killing the old person. We suffer many deaths because we have a lot of issues. And each one we have to change. It's the death start all over again. Okay? So we got that part. But life in you, what is that part? Somebody want to help him? Okay, Allah, you want to help him?
Well, I got a question first. So this life in you, is the person that's killing they self on the inside. Do it consist of one person or like two people? Like me, I'm killing myself. I'm killing the people, the things inside of me.
Many things.
To help you out.
We suffer many
Or is
deaths.
it just one person?
We suffer. The first part he got right. We
Right.
suffer many deaths.
But I'm saying, is the second part, is it still like something saying him or him helping us?
So if I start answering you questions behind that, then I might as well answer the question.
Oh, well, I just think that it's saying by me taking the time out to get take the depths in me away, then that's going to be bad me to be able to help you so you can do the same.
Okay.
Meaning life in you.
Anybody else? Bunyan? He said, okay. It's like I'm trying to talk him into getting on the roller coaster or something. Okay, he's scared to get on the roller coaster. And he's like, okay. If I fall. Okay.
So,
But life in you, that part.
yes, sir. Us leaving that example of keeping off the dead man of keeping the commandments, that's us also leaving them example of walking in righteousness. So they can't be like they got this excuse.
Okay, so I want to go on because I got so much more. Listen, you was right. Hello. The stuff that we do, and y'all have to understand this. The stuff that we do to create life for someone else. So, do y'all understand that? You have to know that somebody else is going to be walking in your footsteps. Okay? You have to know that somebody else is going to be walking in your footsteps. It's going to create a direction for someone else. So death in us, but life in you. And they gonna get killed too. They gonna get 1,000 deaths. They gonna die 1,000 deaths. Because nobody, the only way that we can reign with them is we have to suffer with them. So when they get it, that this is your brick, this is the part that you have to play, and they start putting it off, they're going to put it off because this other person has to see this example in me. And man, putting it off, you know what, I didn't think anything was wrong with it, but okay, I see it. And now when the opportunity presents itself, now, well, do I choose between running my mouth or creating a disturbance or, this argument or getting angry? I normally slam the D door, but I can't slam the door. So I can't be mad like I normally be mad. So let me get myself, and then by being taught constantly, now they put off the old man, and they learn to get better at it. They learn to resolve. They learn to use the scriptures. They learn to overcome it. They learn not to be in captivity. They learn to kill that because they really realize that somebody else was watching them and learning from that, and they don't want to teach that. It's called growing and maturing in this truth, right? Well, they learned that from someone else, So now when they began to do it, they created life in somebody else because they were able to teach that. So it's like the domino effect. Okay? So everybody got it? All right, verse 13. 2 Corinthians 4:13.
2 Corinthians 4:13. We have in the same spirit of faith, according as it is written, I have believed, and therefore have I spoken. We also believe, therefore speak.
Right. We get it? Right. So in our time, having the same spirit of faith. Okay? We believe, we speak, we teach others to believe, they're going to end up speaking. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 14. Knowing that he which raised up the Lord Yahushua shall raise up us also by Yahushua, who shall present us with you.
How is he going to raise us up by Yahushua? How is he going to raise us up by Yahushua? Knowing that he which raised up the Lord shall raise us up also by Yahushua and present us with you. Because Yahushua has got all power in earth and in heaven. And because of our obedience unto the Most High through Yahushua, then Yahushua has got the power according to the Spirit and the will of the Most High to give us the resurrection from the dead. And then also give us life eternal with those that follow the example that they see and that they have been taught. Okay. Verse 15.
For all things are for your sakes, that the abundant grace might through the thanksgiving of many redound to the glory of God.
Right. Everything that we go through they were saying, Paul is saying, everything that we're going through is for your sakes. So everything, Israel, that you do and that you go through is for the sakes of other people. That the abundant grace, not the corrupt communication, okay, but the abundant grace. Who gives abundant grace? Because it sure in the heck ain't us. The Most High gives abundant grace. You leave it to us, we gonna cuss you out. We gonna tell you about the dog you is, nigga. You know you a coon. You love the white man. You love him. And he the devil and all that stuff he do to us. That's not that's not abundant grace. Abundant grace is to tell somebody, to teach them. Take your time and teach them. Use the precepts, help them minister grace unto them, edify them, help them. Whether that are they gonna do it in front of your face? No, they're not gonna dance for you. You understand? They're not gonna make you happy, but they possibly will stand there and give a listening ear to the point to where you can make the sense out of the law and say, hey, you can't do that because if you make this decision, that can happen. And this is the precept. You can't do this and you can't do that. And this is the precept. That's the abundant grace. And now give them leeway and say, hey, now go home and apply it. Go home and apply it. Okay. Someone said example. Okay. Somebody want to give an example? The Sabbath day, something else. I always dance on the Sabbath. Something else. Dwight?
As far as the abundant grace?
No. And then someone said an example. Let's give an example of the abundant grace. We have got to be, it says that the abundant grace might through the thanksgiving of many redound to the glory of God. At the end, the Most High gets the praise and the glory because the abundant grace that from the Most High has to come through us unto them. So give an example. Someone has one example. I said the while.
Like a person.
Yeah, use a law. Use a law, and then use explaining the law unto them instead of, destroying them with it or making them run from it or feel offended by it.
Leviticus 19.
Because we don't have to, we will get it. Ecclesiastes 20. Ecclesiastes chapter 20. And verse 1. Yashala, you can read that. While you can still find, be looking for what you got to get.
So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 20 and verse 1. There is a reproof that is not coming. Again, some man holding his tongue and he is wise. Right. So all correction is not good. You understand? There's meaning all types of correction. The scriptures say there is a reproof that is not coming. You're going to reprove somebody. I'll give you a chance to get it. Ecclesiastes, Sirach chapter 20 and verse 1. Ecclesiastes chapter 20 and verse 1. Okay, go ahead. Ecclesiastes 20 and 1. There is a reproof that is not coming. Again, some man holdeth his tongue, and he is wise.
Right. So there's a type of correction that's not good. Okay? So it has to bring forth abundant grace. There's reproof that is not comely. Let's see. Proverbs 15. And 2.
This is Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 2. The tongue of the wise useth knowledge aright.
Right. So the tongue of the wise use knowledge aright. So you got to use the Bible, like what 1 Corinthians 15:33 said. Let no corrupt communication. Is that the one? That's evil communication. Corrupt manners. Ephesians 4, let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. So when you read Proverbs 15, it says the tongue of the wise use knowledge right. So we got to know how to use the Bible righteously. To do what? To help bring forth the edification of the scriptures. Okay. Last one. Proverbs 19. And 27.
This is Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 27. Cease, my son, to hear the instruction that calls it to err from the words of knowledge.
Right. So we don't even have to listen to somebody if they're gonna deal right. If they're gonna deal wrong. If they're gonna deal wrong. They're gonna deal wrong. Cease, my son, to hear instruction that calls it to err from the words of knowledge. So people, they have the obligation to deal with us right. Okay, that's all right. We're still getting it anyway. Go ahead. Now you got it? Exodus. Okay.
Exodus 20. This is Exodus 20 and 14.
Exodus 20 and 14, thou shalt not commit adultery.
Right. So this like something that a lot of people do. And the way that it ministers grace unto the hearers is like when you go to Proverbs 6. Because it get a lot of people in trouble, and it bring a lot of, it can bring like bloodshed behind it. Just thinking it as simple as, well, she don't got a ring on her finger, or I can be a better man than he can be. This is like stuff how sometimes Israel think, and they just go on thinking that it's a light thing. So Proverbs 6 and 32.
Proverbs 6 and 32, for whosoever committed adultery with a woman lacketh understanding, he that doeth it destroyed his own soul.
Right, so a person will know why people after him. You get what I'm saying? Why brothers trying to hurt him? Why brothers upset with him? Keep reading.
A wound and dishonor shall he get,
Go ahead.
and his reproach shall not be wiped away.
In 34.
For jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore it will not spare in the day of vengeance.
Right, so you say you with a brother, and it normally happens when you with him, and every sister go by, they breaking their neck to them. So then you like, hey brother, that's adultery. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what comes behind committing adultery? It says jealousy is the rage of a man. So this man find out that you looking at his woman, now he gonna be full of fury. It says, therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. So now you push it upon this man's woman, now a fight break out, you know, or this brother, he even escalate beyond the fight to where now he trying to kill you. You know what I'm saying? So you explain the height of the sin that he committed and how adultery looked and one of the judgments of it, and tell him, now do you see why it's important not to be looking at another brother's woman? He like, man, you know what, that's right. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know it had this kind of effect. And you actually could have put me in a position to where you straight saving my life, because who knows the mindset of the man who this woman belonged to, and what height he gonna go to defend this woman of himself. You know what I'm saying? So he had that grace because now he could have passed on and got punished, but then you show him how it looked and what the Most High said the judgment is behind it. When as simple as he think, ain't nothing wrong with looking, and that's what the world say. It's long I can look, but don't touch. But it don't stop there. All this come behind it, and he like, you know what? I'm gonna stop because I get hurt.
Okay, that's satisfying. So, do y'all understand the process that he went through? He just went through. It's either that or this. Hebrews chapter 10 and 28. So he just went through the process of explaining, you know, why a person shouldn't. So when you read Titus 2 and 11, it says, the grace of the Most High teacheth us, that bringeth salvation, teacheth us that denying worldly and ungodly lust, that we should live sober. So the abundant grace is being, you know, more the things that we went through, it happened for us, and then we would expound and explain to you or to someone else why they shouldn't be in that type of sin, if the Father allowed it to go that way for us to explain it to him. So when you read Hebrews chapter 10 and verse, what I say? 28, he that despised Moses' law died without mercy. So when you despise the law, that means you don't take heed to it, you just do it. So once you were found committing the act of adultery, where was abundant grace then? It wasn't there. It was rocks and stones and bricks and craters and boulders smashing your skull. And sure, you had civilians or people that was in Israel that didn't mind crushing you and seeing your skull crushed, eyes popping out, blood gushing, nerves shivering, shaking your body and all of that, your corpse. They wasn't full of, just like you have people that will work in the hospital, they say, oh, he's a squirter, you squirting blood. You know, they're not afraid to see that. So trust and believe that there were people then that would straight up crush you, man, with the rocks. So we should understand the abundant grace. The abundant grace is what the brother just gave an example, saying, hey, I'm going to show you and teach you that, listen, this man, he not going to spare you. So we out there teaching, and Israel is in all other sins. You down with OPP? They made a song 10 years ago. Yeah, I'm down with OPP. You down with OPP? I'm down with OPP. Yeah, I'm going to pick her up. And, you know, we're going to go here and we're going to go there. And next thing you know, both of them found dead in the car. So now the Father is sending out servants, teachers, and to tell you, don't be down with that, because the man, it's nothing that you can, you know, you can destroy his life, man. Do you know how deep that cuts? So it's nothing that you can repay him back. So if you stand there, you sitting there, and then, you know, you were tempted to do something like that, you could possibly just evade the situation and deliver yourself and not go on that date that's going to cost your life. Because when that guy found out, and sometimes women, they do things to spite the man. They do things to hurt him. Yeah, I was with your boy Keith. Oh, I was with Keith. We didn't do nothing though. We didn't go nothing. Don't go nowhere. He like, I'm killing him. That me. And he know he hate me. No. The next thing you know, he gets shot up. He gets shot up because who felt so convicted that she went right back to him. She felt so convicted. She felt so sorry that she did it, you know, that she went out with him, but, you know, she had to tell it. And then now Keith is shot up, man. So the grace, abundant grace is the Most High would, Titus 2, Most High will bring out the scriptures and show you that's not what you should do. Okay, Titus chapter 2 and 11.
This is Titus 2 and 11. For the grace of God that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men, teaching us that denying ungodliness and worldly lust, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world.
So now, if that's just the definition of what grace is. He just gave it to us. Abundant grace. That means you're going to get it taught abundantly. For the grace of the Father that bringeth salvation have appeared unto all men, teaching us. That's what grace does. Grace teaches you. It teaches you to deny ungodliness and worldly lust. So abundant grace is going to do that. It's going to teach you abundantly to say no unto sin, lust, and temptation, and that you should make a good choice, that you should live sober. When you sober, you know what to do. When you drunk it, then, you know, you do things and forget about it because you are under the influence of all these different spirits. But it teaches you to be sober and to make the right decision. That's what the righteously is, and also godly, meaning do what the Bible says. When now, this present world, meaning the present world that you live in, you got to do it now. All right. So now back to 2 Corinthians chapter 4. In verse 16.
This is 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 16. For which cause we faint not. This is 2 Corinthians 4:16. For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day.
Right. So what does that mean? For which cause, not this part, we faint not, mean we can't give in, can't give up. But the outward man, how does the outward man perish if we're still alive? We're still alive. The outward man. How does the outward man perish? Okay, Shah, you think you know? How does the outward man perish? Day-to-day struggles, what do you mean? So the outward man perish. The outward man has to perish. What does that look like? I can't really hear y'all.
Is the outward man like the flesh?
Is the outward man like the flesh? Okay. Yes. Though the outward man perish, how does it perish? You want some help? Somebody help him. The outward man. So he said the flesh. How does it perish, though? Go ahead, Elijah. You're waving like a flag.
No, it's almost spoiled.
You don't want to spoil it? Go ahead. If you think you know.
So like now, instead of being all lined up, you're gonna have a beard and stuff and fringes, and the old man he'll usually be looking like somebody is in the world, but now you're gonna be looking like a
Okay.
and their actions too. You know, they want, instead of, you know, them just being all boisterous, they want to be like a down to earth, humble person.
How I line them up? You got a line. That's a line. That's the outward man. You know, he got the lining. Well, forget this wrong, but the outward man. Okay. It's got something to do with the actions. He used the lining. Okay, he used the lining. When the outward man perished, that means that you're going to be changing the actions, your actions that you're doing. And it's going to outwardly be on display. You know, first you might be, you know, maybe rocking the beard. You know, you might be rocking the beard, but you might be cutting it up, creating a little chin strap. You know, some brothers creating a little chin strap. You can't do that, man. You're supposed to let the beard grow. You can shape it up, but you cannot round the corners, more the corners of that thing. You can't do that. So it doesn't matter who you see do it. This says no. And there's no way around it. Let's get that. So I know some of you out there doing it. You can't do it. Okay, Matthew chapter 19 and 27. Leviticus, same thing. Leviticus 19:27. It's like 20 books away.
This is Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 27.
Right.
Ye shall not round the corners of your head.
So that's up here. You got the corner here, come down, and then you go around like that. He said, ye shall not do that. You go to the barber, they're going to come over here, bam, bam, bam. You shall not do that. Go ahead.
Neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard.
Now this is your beard, so you can't come down here, bam, and then how does it go? And you're gonna round that. This is the corner. You're gonna round that. You're gonna mar this. Mar means to destroy. You can't destroy this. This edge is natural. This been growing over 20-something years. It ain't never came up and obstructed my vision or none of that. It's got a commandment from the Father to stop. You can't do that. That's the scriptures right there. So when you understand that the outward man is going to perish, the thing that you was doing is going to perish. So that's just one thing that you was doing. So we could go from all the different things that man does, and he'll stop doing it. Okay? He'll stop doing it. Same thing with the woman. She'll stop doing it. Okay? Sisters. What do sisters do? Sisters, you cut your eyes off. Is it? Yeah, you cut your eyes off and draw them back on. You can't do that. You can't do that. You take this thing, take a razor and you cut them off. You take a razor and you cut them off. Then you bend the little thing like this. Why y'all do that? Why you do that? Some of them be like a tire mark or something. It be like, skirt. How y'all do that, man? Deuteronomy chapter 14.
Deuteronomy 14:1. Ye are the children of the Lord your God. Ye shall not cut yourselves, neither make any baldness between your eyes for the dead.
What you don't realize is that was an Egyptian custom, a way of mourning, to do that, to make cutlings in their flesh, tattoos, and also to take their eyebrows and cut them off, to be in mourning. You just don't see it, that custom, not just like we had a custom that we would put ashes upon our heads. You don't see nobody doing that, so it's hard to believe. But before these times, we did that. Children do it now, they just don't realize. They go play in the dirt. Why'd you put dirt? You have dirt all over their head and everything. They thought it was fun. They was throwing the dirt up in the lot. You stay next door to the lot, they dirt, throwing it up in the air, and they got it all over them and stuff. But see, that's the thing that's going to perish. When you actually understand that that's, you know, it ain't going to do nothing but make you feel obedient unto the Most High. So you just stop. And then some people be like, well, what if they won't grow? Because it's going to keep going and it's going to connect. Don't worry about it. That's the natural look. That's how you look. That's how you look. Do we not realize that people, they make money off of sin? They make money off of us sinning. They might as well be like, sin for sale. Sin for sale. Like, okay, well, what you got over here? Well, what you want to do? They selling us sin, man. This economy would be crippled if we stopped buying sin. It would be crippled, man. And we would, I love seeing people in their natural state. I love seeing people in their natural state. I'm driving down the street, that's okay. I let the Father be the judge. I see little children, that melanated skin and snappy afros. I saw a little girl the other day, beautiful. She was just running down the steps. I told my son, I said, I wish I had a picture. You know what I'm saying? I said, that's Israel. She's about 3.5 foot tall, just running. Did y'all see the other picture when we went on Juneteenth to teach? And the little boy was just carefree. He was like this, playing in the water hydrant.
Yeah.
You know that? He was just playing in the water hydrant. That's Israel. He didn't have a care in the world. No shirt on, shorts on. You understand? They don't know. They just come out the alley and saw the water. That's unadulterated. That has nothing to do with the world. You know, they ain't had a beauty shop, a barber salon. They ain't had no Maybelline. They ain't had no creamy crack. They ain't had nothing, man. That's just Israel. That's the comeliness of the Father. So when he put this inside of us, you know what happens? It's supposed to take away all that wickedness that we have, and the outer person is then begin to do something different. We are beautiful people if we trust in the Lord. We trust in the Most High. You know, we're beautiful, beautiful people, man. Okay, just as we are. What about the perm? Yeah, use your natural hair. If you comb it and warm it and lengthen it, that's on you, but you shouldn't add chemicals to damage it. You know, it's just going to damage it. Why do I think so many spiritual leaders disregard these truths? Because they got the vapors. I'll show you what the vapors are, man. That's the word, as I spell that wrong. Okay. The vapors, those are the smokers that's coming off the world, man. They got the vapors. They say, we don't want the world. We don't want the world. Just give us the vapors. Just give us the smokers that come from the world. And so they bring some of those things into the truth, holding on to it, twisting the scriptures, holding on to it. That's why they care. You know, they care how they look and how they walk and how they talk and how they dress. They are ashamed. They're ashamed. You got some to say, oh, I don't have to wear fringes. It's in my heart. What the Bible said. The Lord said, speaking to the children of Israel and bid them. Bid them means command them. That they put upon their garments a border of fringe with a border and blue of garment. That we supposed to look upon it. So who told you that it's on your heart? You're afraid to wear fringes. You're ashamed. You're ashamed of it because when you put that on, that's going to identify you with this, and your life is part-time. You're being partial. So you only put this on when you're going to go out and rail on people. You're going to go out and you're going to talk, or you're going to teach, or you're going to talk about the scriptures. Then you put it on, but afterwards you fold it up and put it in the back seat. And then you go whoring and to the club and drinking and smoking. And you don't mention it until somebody says something about being a Hebrew. Yeah, brother, I'm a Hebrew. I know about the Hebrews, this and this. And now you got a mouthful of words to say. But you wasn't a Hebrew while you were drinking and smoking and sexing. You can cut your hair. Don't cut it bald. See, I haven't heard the word vapors. Nothing can. Boy, what do you say? When you got the vapors, nothing can save you. This is the season for catching the vapors. That's a strong song when you think about it. Y'all youngsters, y'all don't know about that, but that the vapors, man. Man, when you sprung on the ideal or the ideology of something, the spirits, when you sprung on that, can't nothing take you away from it. This Most High can, but without the Most High, you have no hope. Nothing can take you away from that. Right, Biz Market. I might play that going to camp for the brothers in the car. Explain to them what that is. That's a lust right there. You lust so much, your tongue hanging out. And why they take the tongue? Why they stick the tongue out? What that mean? Yeah. You can't do that. Whack it short. I mean, whack it off like a bald. But, you know, whatever it takes to get that perm out, you can do that. Or you can just let it wear out. You know what I'm saying? If you want to keep your hair, just let it grow out. You know, nobody has the right to say something to you or ride you. Just don't do it no more. You know, and let it wear out. Trust and believe. Them roots gonna start swelling. They're gonna start knotting up on you because it's in your blood. All right. So that we finish, get back into this Israel. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and 16. For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish. So we got that part. Yet the inward man is renewed day by day. So the inward person is a process. That day by day is a process that has to happen. All right. Okay. Our really uncontrollable lust makes sense now. So everybody understand the latter part? That the inward man is renewed day by day? Why did it say renewed? The inward man. You gotta think about this is the BAU. Behavior Analyst Unit. Here we deal with the brain, we deal with the mind, we deal with the thoughts, we deal with the mental process. We don't just read to be reading. Yet, because a lot of you read the Bible don't know what it's talking about. Yet the inward man is renewed. Why does the inward man have to be renewed? On a daily basis. Because he stays what? In correction. Sometimes he lost. He has to be renewed. His hope failed, faith failed, traumatized. And it's getting better. We did something, he failed. We don't get taught something and then we perfect it. It doesn't work like that. You get taught something and then you meditate and think upon it, and then that lust, it calls you and then you go to that lust. And sometimes you do the thing that you don't want to do. But you got to stop that. Because you got to start relaying your lack of success with the judgments that the scripture is talking about. We got to start relaying the judgments with the things that the scriptures is talking about. You can't just be like, oh, you know, I got sick, you know, because, you know, somebody came in the room. That lady sneezed. Or my house, you know, got burned because, you know, yeah, the child did it, but you know, why would the Most High is able to put it into our spirit, go check on the children. So when we have this, oh, I lost my job, you know, when we have a lack of success, we go through these afflictions. We're gonna keep renewing. We gotta keep trying. It's a day-by-day process. Not once a week, once a month. I see some brothers and sisters once a month, once every 2 months. See them once and never see them again. So then that says day by dash. Never saw them again. When they're supposed to be working it out every day, because every day has evil in it. Christ tried to tell us that. Elder Matthew. Matthew chapter 6 and 34. Sometimes we just be like, yeah, the new man is the new man, old man. Yeah, the new man is renewed day by day. The inward man is renewed day by day, not really realizing that the new man, he's one man, but something new happens to him. It's supposed to happen every day. Something new is supposed to happen unto you every day. You should be getting better. Not once every 2 weeks, once every month. That's why we have class so much. The ones that are always in class are the strongest ones. You are trust and believe. So you be wondering like, well, why are so many other people, why are they weak? Why are they giving into sin? Because they're not learning. Anytime you do something repetitive like this, you get stronger. Because you constantly hearing it. And then you go and depart to serve the Father. You come right back, you hear some more, you go and depart to serve the Father, you get stronger and stronger. We've been having the same schedule for a very long time. You know, for a very long time. It's up to you to make you know, the days, the times, the hours, and set your time aside, and not put, you know, not put anything in front of it, forsaking the assembly. You know. So Matthew 6:34. Go ahead.
This is Matthew 6:34. Take therefore no thought for the morrow.
For the next day, because remember, the new man is trying to be renewed. Go ahead.
For the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself.
Go ahead.
Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof.
Right. Christ says sufficient unto the day, meaning today has enough evil in it. You won't have, some of you bring stress and anguish upon yourself, worry, trying to worry about, oh, tomorrow, this and this and this. Now, you got to just think about today. I'm going to think about today. What am I doing today? And I know it's probably hard for you to get out of that rhythm, but it has to happen. Okay? You got to think about today. Today has enough evil in it today. Let me not do this. Let me not do that. Let me not render evil for evil. Let me not retaliate. Let me not sin with my mouth. Let me not sin with my eyes. Let me not sin with my ears. Let me not sin with my hands. You know, and when you do sin, guess what? Now I have to renew myself today. Every day you're going to be what? Renewing yourself. That's what that means. Every day you need to be getting stronger. You need to be getting better. You need to be fighting every day. And this is something for all of us. It ain't a person walking the earth that this does not apply to. It doesn't matter who it is. I know that there are other brothers in other congregations, other elders, deacons, bishops, prophets, whatever you are, it is for you too, man. And the day you think it's not, the day the Most High gonna put you to sleep. Because the only one that was without sin was Hamashiach Yahushua, whom the world calls Jesus Christ. You know, us, we always have to strengthen and renew our spirit to be better and stronger in whatever the Father put in front of us, face in front of us every day. That is a proven fact. A proven fact. When you self-examine yourself, you always gonna be like, okay, I could have did that differently. You know, that's the man being renewed day by day, okay? Is there a limit to how many times you can repent? Well, we don't want to find out, but you know, what we do want to do is not lay again the foundation of repentance from dead works. Meaning the works are dead, we're unproductive. That means we know what we're doing. So I'm going to say I'm sorry. You know, we want to avoid apologizing for things that we know to do, but have been in the past refusing to do it. Okay, so let's go back to finish 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 17.
This is 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 17. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory.
Right. You see how he described the life that we live? A light affliction. To us, it seemed heavy because sometimes I guess we're bugging out. But you can't bug out. You can't lose your mind. For our light affliction, which is for a moment, worketh for us. Worketh for us. It's preparing us. We talked about it in the beginning of the class. How we're being prepared to be the governed, ruling government body of the earth. It's going to work for us a far more exceeding and weight, eternal weight of glory. So the stuff that we going to deal with is heavy. It ain't light. Our responsibility is going to be huge, not small. We're going to judge the earth. While we look not at the things which are seen. Remember I made the post, it's not how we look now, but what? How we gonna look. All right? But at the things which are not seen. So we try to imagine what is life going to be like for us. Royalty. For the things which are seen are temporal. This stuff here that we going through, this stuff that we see, temporary, man. temporary, Israel. That's why you got to work through it, fight through it, pray through it, and use help to keep moving. Temporal. Don't make it big. Make it small. Keep it moving. But the things which are not seen are eternal. Our life, our wealth, our health, all of the above. Okay? Go to John 15. St. John chapter 15 and verse 16.
This is St. John chapter 15 and verse 16. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, and ordained you, that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it you.
So it's not us. It's not us. You have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. So we don't choose Israel. They don't listen. It's not. We don't choose. He chooses us. You have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you. Okay, the Most High, meaning that the Lord has given us permission to do what we do, to live the life that we live. We are on spiritual permission that you should go and bring forth fruit. The first fruit is our actions. Killing the old man, rising a new man, perfecting a new man. Okay? And that your fruit should remain. See? So we can't become unfruitful after we just shut the door. After we learn, we're not supposed to go back. You know, once you start applying the commandments, keeping the Sabbath day, you know, so brothers, once you stop, you know, you stop destroying, you know, your natural nature that the Father put upon you. You're not supposed to go back and then you're going to destroy it. And go to the barber, I'm going to get a lining. Because you're mad. That's showing that, you know, stay with the class up. That's showing that never left your mind. If you were a woman and now you wear all dresses and you got this thing, right? You got it. You're not supposed to then, you get mad at the movement or you get mad at the assembly, the congregation. They might have judged you. You got mad. You got corrected or something. Everything happens. Okay? It ain't a person in here. It ain't a man, woman, or child in here that ain't been corrected. You know, you don't supposed to go and now you put a man of prayers on again. You got mad. No, this says your fruit to remain. If you went to, you know, Thailand and you had to live in a cave, you still got dietary law, the Sabbath, whatever the 7th day of the week is in Thailand, you should be keeping it holy. You should still have a book. You should be looking for a Thailand Bible or some type of English Bible that you can read. You understand? No matter what happens unto you, this is a part of you. You are called unto this. You ain't supposed to separate yourself from this. Your fruit's supposed to remain. When you make excuses, you convincing who? It ain't the person you talking to. You convincing yourself on why you doing what you doing is acceptable, because the Bible says he changed not. You try to convince me, I'm just listening unto you. You're not convincing me. You're not persuading me. I didn't get to this point giving anybody a license to sin, nor cutting myself any slack. It takes huge sacrifice. It takes death. We talked about that. The dying man. We talked about all of that. So once you go through that, someone gonna convince you that it's okay to sin. It's not okay. There is abundant grace for someone that needs it. But then there is an application for someone that needs it. And you have this space and opportunity. The Father has opened your life for most of us. He's opened our life for us to obey the voice of the Most High. So why do you need space to sin? And he said, come to me, son, my daughter, my son, come to me. You'll come and sin, or are you going to apply the commandments? The scriptures say in Acts 17:30, the times of this ignorance, God wink at you. When you're not ignorant, how you going to wink at your sin? If you're not ignorant, he used grace to teach you to deny worldly and ungodly lust, and then to obey him. So then the Lord will start bringing upon sufferings to you. He'll start afflicting you, correcting you. So he shows this, John 15:16, that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever you ask the Father in my name, what Christ is saying, because you follow me, that he may give it you. These things I command you, that you love one another. That means that you should enjoy having a fellowship with each other. If the world hate you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. What is the world that we're having a problem with, that we would have to ask the question, why don't they listen? Sometimes it's immediate family or friends or whoever. We call them immediate family and friends. Yeah, they are immediate family because we grew up with them. We know them, mother, father, sister, brother. But the friend, that's the world. Israel. They end up hating you. Know that it hated me first. How did it hate them first? Because do you think that you're the first person they tried to correct them? No. So they don't look at it like they hate God, they hate the Most High, but that's exactly who their emotions is directed to. That's who takes it. I give you an example. You parents in here, you send someone to tell somebody, you tell someone to tell somebody else to go do this, and they rail on them, they treat them bad. I don't give a damn what they say, this and this. When you hearing that, you gonna take that personal? Yes, you're gonna take it personal because who they saying they don't give a damn what's this and this and this. You like, those are my words that I put in their mouth to tell you. So you telling them that you don't care about what I say? The same thing, man. The same thing. So when you go and you tell somebody something, you got to be the best at doing it. That's what part of class. You got to be the best at doing it. But know for sure that they have already been told. You ain't the first person to show up to tell them not to smoke, not to drink and drive, not to fornicate. Leave that old nappy-head boy alone. Leave that old nappy-head girl alone. Leave that man alone. You ain't the first person to tell them to do that. But when they despise it, it's the Most High in Christ. It says that they hated me before they hated you. Verse 19, read that.
If you were of the world would love his own.
If you was doing what they was doing, they wouldn't even have no problem with you. Your sisters wouldn't have no problem with you. Your mother wouldn't have no problem with you. If she could run you ragged, go to the store and get the loaf of bread for me on the Sabbath day. Give me the Pepsi and bring me a pack of cigarettes. And if you wasn't there correcting and saying, Mom, you can't smoke, you can't smoke, she wouldn't have no problem with you. Some of you got parents want you to take them to church. You're like, Mom, I ain't taking that. I ain't doing that. That's not the scriptures. You're supposed to believe in Christ. You be like, Jesus wasn't white. I mean, Jesus wasn't black. Jesus wasn't white. He was black. You know, you're trying to explain it to him. And you're like, wait a second. Bro, I ain't got nothing to do. They got an attitude. Now you into an argument. But if you were going to church and you were showing up with heels on and picking her up at 9:30, you know, 9:45, getting her there at 10 o'clock, if you were the world would love you. She would love you. Okay? But because you're not of the world, meaning because you don't go to that thing and you keep the commandments and you believe in the seventh day, according to the scriptures, they have a problem with you. But I have chosen you out of Israel. See, I have chosen you out of Israel. Therefore, Israel hates you. And your mother, father, sister, brother, uncle, cousin, auntie, in all these different avenues of life, they disagree with you. They don't like you. They disagree with you. Remember the word that I said unto you. So in this natural state, Yahweh Shai is talking to his apostles. The servant is not greater than his Lord. And what that means. If they don't like the word of the Most High that Christ delivered to Israel, what make you think that they're going to like you? They don't like him, and they ain't even seen him. They just know that the words is in the scriptures. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. The people that we're dealing with, your mothers, your fathers, your cousins, aunties, uncles, who do you think those people are? First of all, let me tell you something. Let me show you something. Perfect that D. Remember that way, D. They are somebody else's what? Seed. That's right. You got evil seeds and righteous seeds. The thing is, you don't know whose seed they are, their descendants. All you know is, that's my mother. Y'all don't come from the same loins. You're here. You're here. So obviously somewhere, even if your father is off his rockers, that's okay. Still, this is a lineage thing. This is a lineage thing. And you still come out of that lineage, and now here you are. And now you're a commandment keeper. And you're trying to explain something to somebody that you're not really sure about that lineage, about that seed, and you're trying. When you read the scriptures, Christ said that Israel that persecute prophets are children of their fathers. Let's get that. Eight and one.
Hebrews 41.
John 8 and 40. Okay. Okay, so St. John chapter 8 and 37. I'll read it. St. John 8:37. I know that ye are Abraham's seed. So this is what Christ is saying to the Jews of Israel, scribes and Pharisees. Just like we know that people be what? Abraham's seed. Those are Israelites. Okay? But ye seek to kill me, because my word have no place in you. St. John 8:38. I speak that which I have seen with my Father, and ye do that which you have seen with your father. So Christ is saying, listen, I deal right and you deal wrong. Verse 39. Then they answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father. So we're Israel. Yahweh shall say unto them, if you were Abraham's children, then you would do the works of Abraham. But now you seek to kill me, a man that have told you the truth. And that's, some of you run into that situation. People, they don't like you even though you've told them the truth. Which I have heard of God, this did not Abraham. So he said that he heard it from the mouth of the Most High himself. Because who did Abraham deal with? Yahweh or God the Most High? He dealt with Christ. Okay? You do the deeds of your father. Then they said to him, we be not born of fornication. So they don't understand that Christ is not referring to fornication. He's referring to them, the sin of rejecting the Son of the Most High, rejecting him. We have one Father, even God. Yahweh shall say unto them, if God were your Father, ye would love me, for I proceeded forth and came from him. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Why do ye not understand my speech, even because ye cannot hear my words? Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father will ye do. So in other words, Christ is referring to these men coming out of wicked bloodlines and lineages. Okay, now let's go to Matthew 23. Matthew chapter 23 and verse start at 28.
This is Matthew
Go ahead,
chapter 23 and verse 28.
Right.
Even so ye also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity.
Right, so notice you have people that will talk righteously and even get people to listen to them. But on the inside, they don't do what they're supposed to do. They're full of hypocrisies and sin. Go ahead.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because ye build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous.
Right. What is it to build a tomb? They literally go out there and build headstones? No. They cause them to be built. And what is it to garnish something? Garnish is to make it look nice. What is it to garnish the sepulchre of the righteous? Meaning because these flowers and teddy bears and candles are all over this, you're the reason why this is here. Go ahead.
Verse 30. And say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Right.
People will always say that, I wouldn't be I would love Jeremiah, Ezekiel. I would love Peter and John and Luke. I would walk with Christ. You would do exactly what you're doing now. Go ahead.
Wherefore ye be witnesses unto yourselves that ye are the children of them which killed the prophets.
So you don't know, these people that we deal with that are family members that are gone astray in the word of Israel, man, if they don't repent and bring forth the fruits of repentance, but they're showing that hatred. They are the children of them which kill the prophets. That's who they are. Because you can tell their behavior. Fill ye up then the measure of your fathers. Go ahead and completely do what your father had did. You filled up his measure. You act just like your father. See how you hate me? See how you talking to me? See how you dealing with me? See how you hate what's right? All right, so let's lose that. Go back to John 15. So these seeds that we dealing with, we have to be wise as a serpent, and we have to be very smart to know that it's a possibility that you come from somebody that destroyed people that I come from. Y'all do know that men in their lust would just make any decision, right? Y'all understand? Everybody understand what I mean in here?
Yes, sir.
Men in their lust will make any decision. Okay, I don't want to start pulling precepts to show you, but I want to make sure that you understand. And years down the line, they had this baby, and now this baby ain't a baby no more. This baby is a grown woman. And now this woman is 25 years old, and she's in this truth now, and she's calling that person what? Mama. And you see mama, but what does the Most High see? He see a piss poor example. He see the example of a man that didn't listen to him. And so now you struggling between this is my mother and the scriptures. And you're trying to tell your mother the scriptures, but what is your mother? She may end up being an evil seed. Or she could be sweet as butter to you, but she rebellious as hell. She don't want to hear nothing. She don't want to hear nothing. You can't talk about nothing. If you do, it's a problem. It's an issue. I can even contest that Israel is, one woman got into a physical fight with her mother. Physical fight that she didn't even start it. The mama said, I'm dealing with you. Mother is beating her. You stop quoting those precepts. Stop quoting those scriptures. The girl is like, I can't breathe. Mama like, even more. I'm getting you. That's evil. That's an evil seed right there. So the mother come from one man, the child come from another man. The man just happened, to make the decision and put the seed into this woman, and the baby grew. So Israel, once you start digesting that, you got to learn how to deal with these family members that have chosen not to follow the Most High. You got to learn how to deal with them in the scriptures. And you got to learn to know that you are a chosen vessel of the Most High. And whether them being chosen or not has yet to be seen. But you got to choose the scriptures. Okay? That's what has to happen. You have to got to make that sacrifice to say, hey, I got to choose the scriptures because there's a cost to pay. You can lose your inheritance over that. Because the world is trying to pull you back into it. Yeah, it's trying to pull you back into it. When you read Matthew 10, Christ said you can't love nobody more than you love them. Because is he trying to get you to idolize him? Nope, he's trying to get you to follow the Father, the Most High, Yahweh. So Those decisions are something that we got to make. And it's real, it's true. Because Israel is going to regain control of the earth. And if you want to have that fellowship and you want to have your part in the earth, then he's got to know that he don't have somebody that has the power of immortality that's going rogue, disobedient, out of control. What's that? And you end up looking like, what's the guy that was a superhero, but he was a whiner, he was drunk and all that. Hancock. You be a Hancock, man. You understand? You got powers and all of that stuff, and you Hancock. You just don't listen. You do what you want to do. What was it do? Drunk up on top of buildings and stuff like that. You know, he'd fly down and tear a neighborhood up if he wanted to. They're like, wait a minute, man, why are you doing all of that? He's like, forget this. Boom, knock over 10 cars. You can't be like that. So if you don't listen now, why would the Father give you life eternal? He won't do that. So, you know. So you got to make that choice. And you got to make a better decision than the word of Israel that you come up out of. You got to make better decisions. You got to make the decisions that show that. That's why it says make your calling and election sure. You got to make decisions that show that, hey, I come from a good stock. You know, all of you, if you hear, you come from good stock. Don't worry about, you know, your mother. It's your father. The father carries the seed. When I say don't worry about your mother, honor your mother according to the scriptures. How do you do that? But I ain't going to break no laws. I can't break no laws. I can't break no laws. I could definitely listen to you. I could definitely talk to you. I could definitely help you. Let me carry the bags. But what I cannot do, I cannot break no laws. This is a lineage. Even you sisters in here, you come from somebody's seed. Women do not have a seed. That's very important for you to know and understand that. And it's something special, great about where you descend from. The Most High is keeping that covenant, that promise with somebody in ancient days. So you got to keep that thing alive. How do sisters contribute? You contribute by, you know, if you're married, bringing forth righteous seeds. Let's get Timothy. First Timothy 2. And 15. How does she contribute? 1 Timothy 2:15. Read that.
This is 1 Timothy 2:15. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbirth.
Right. How does she contribute? Childbirth. Childbirth. Looking for the Most High to bring forth prophets. Looking for the Most High to bring forth prophets. Childbirth. Sisters understand that? Childbirth. You are already somebody's seed, a righteous seed. That's good. That's beautiful. So how do you help build? Childbirth. That's how you help build. Childbirth. Remember Mary, she was highly favored. She brought forth the top prophet, Yahushua Christ. And she had other children. But it says, read the next part.
If they continue.
If they continue. So you can't just have children, but don't continue in something. Go ahead.
In faith.
Right. The faith is the scriptures. In the scriptures. You know, and if you pass the childbearing stage or whatever, then you still stay in the spirit of the Most High. You still keep the commandments and you still, you know, do your thing. Some sisters are widowed. You know, but some, the scriptures say he would prefer that the younger sisters, you know, they get married So that's 5 and 14. We don't have to go there. I would therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. That's 1 Timothy 5:14. So Israel, we building, man. We're building. Okay? Younger meaning the sisters that are not, widowed. Okay? Are not put away. So you have to continue in charity, in faith, in charity, in holiness with sobriety, meaning being sober. Your life being sober. You're not giving place to wiles of the devil. Being a hot mess in the house and all that kind of stuff. Still mind lingering in the past and you don't understand the way and will of the Father. Let's go back to St. John. We're gonna almost finish. We're gonna speed it up so we don't have to do 2 parts. So St. John chapter 15 and it says, remember the word that I said unto you, that the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my sayings, they will keep yours also. But all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. So they don't know the Father. So why they do it? Because they don't know God. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin. But now they have no cloak for their sin. So if Christ had not come, they would not have truly understood how to be spiritual and how not to get off into this and what sin really was. But now that he come, there is no excuse. That's what cloak means. He that hated me, hated my Father also. So when they deal with you with hatred, they hating you and they hating the Most High. If I had not done among them the works which none other men did, they had not had sin. But now have they both seen and hated both me and my Father. So we correlate that today, because remember, we also, according to St. John 1, being the Word made flesh, setting a perfect example, they see the works that they haven't seen other people do. They ain't seen a woman with covering her head, with dress, long, modest apparel, with board and blue and fringe, wearing that style. They haven't seen that, but now they see it in you. I haven't seen a person refrain from defiling the Sabbath day, but they see it in you. Okay? So seeing it, if they don't like it, they have a problem, the Father gonna take it personal. But this cometh to pass, that the word might be fulfilled that is written in the law that they think they know. They hated me what? Without a cause. So most of the times, Israel, these people, they dislike you for no apparent reason. And that's because your ways is righteous and their ways is wicked. But when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, okay, which proceeded from the Father, he shall testify of me. Meaning you're going to have a spirit that the Father calls the Comforter, which we have at this time, and that is the Spirit of truth. And that's why you must always live, walk, obey, and apply these scriptures, which is a display of the Comforter that comes from Christ. Ye shall also bear witness, because you have been with me, what? From the beginning, meaning the apostles and even us, from the beginning of our activity, coming into the truth and not falling aside, not going backwards, not turning to the side. So we'll be able to bear witness too. and being bearing witnesses, going to, hey, you know, we got that spirit, that comfort of truth. All right, Israel, we actually can stop that. It's still too much left. So, but I tell you what I will do is go and get the communion, brother. Start the communion, and while he doing that, you know, I'll continue. So John 16:1, these things have I spoken unto you, that ye should not be offended. So Christ is teaching us what to expect from people to avoid being offended. They shall put you out of the synagogues. Yeah. The time coming that whosoever killeth you would think that he do it God's service. So people will come against the Israelites. That's why when you're dealing with people, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. You got to refrain yourself, because people, they will put you to death. Okay? And they'll actually think that they're doing the Most High's work. Where was it? We were in, where was that? We were in Kansas City. Ran up on some men that I would so bad want to say they were dallying with harlots, but we didn't see them. They were all intoxicated. And they sprung up on us out of nowhere, man. Satan just like appeared and strove the whole time, swearing by the name of Yahweh, what do you say? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. I mean, dudes was going off. They were tripping. And they were swearing that they were doing the service of the Most High. I mean, listen, you ain't never seen, in midsummer, we go out to, what is this? Del Marlou. I call that the Belle of the Beast, because they are so dysfunctional and the flesh and everything, right? That place is like a drop out of a bucket compared to Kansas City. I mean, they have like 3 or 4 block square radius cut off. Block. You can't drive down the street. It ain't nothing but cesspool. And the police is sitting at the end of the streets as guards. The people are holding each other up, walking down the street. They're drunk. They have no clothes on, literally. Literally. And this Israelite group was out there with them. Was out there with them, drinking and having fun. And had 10,000 questions for us, questioning our integrity and our spirit. And were very hostile. Very, very hostile. The video is on Facebook. So people that kill you, they will actually think they're doing the work of the Father. So beware of people. Trust no man. Trust the Spirit. That's what you trust. Okay? Verse 3. St. John 16:3. These things will they do unto you, because they have not known the Father, nor me. But these things have I told you, that when the time shall come, you may remember that I told you of them. Meaning, so you can deliver yourself or you can fall into their hands. And these things I said not unto you at the beginning, because I was with you, but now I go my way to him that sent me, and none of you asking me, whither goest thou? But because I have said these things unto you, sorrow hath filled your heart. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth, it is expedient for me to go. It's expedient for that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, I will send him unto you. And when he come, he will reprove the world of sin. So Israel, because Christ left Israel had the spirit of the Comforter, which is the Spirit of truth, a spirit from the Father to do what? Convince the world of sin. So that means we're going to know what we're talking about. Okay? And of righteousness and of judgment. Of sin, because they believe not on me. Of righteousness, because I go to my Father, and ye see me no more. So that's saying that Christ is saying you're going to have this ability to do these things. Why? Because we believe on him, and he went into the Father, and to make sure that we are fully equipped, we were able to do it. John, the 3rd chapter. St. John chapter 3 and verse 18. Read that for me.
This is St. John chapter 3 and verse 18. He that believeth on him is not condemned.
Right. So you, Israel, you're in the truth. You're not condemned. Go ahead.
But he that believeth not is condemned already.
Right. But the ones that believe it not is condemned already. So if somebody is not applying the scriptures, nor taking a correction, they don't believe. The belief is not saying, oh, with lip service. Christ said, why call you me Lord, Lord, and do not the things I say? The faith in Christ is about action. So if they're not going to do it, they're already condemned. Okay? Actually, y'all, I think we are over the hump downhill. Way downhill. 1 Thessalonians. First Thessalonians chapter 2, and I'll read it 10. All right, it says, ye are witnesses, and God also, how wholly and justly and unblameable we behaved ourselves among you that believe. So the believers, we have to be holy and justly unblameable. Verse 11, as ye know how we exhorted and comforted and changed and charged every one of you as a father doeth his children. 1 Thessalonians, I'll wait. I see a few trying to catch up. How does a father charge his children? Hold them responsible with correction and oftentimes rebuke. First Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 11. Put your eyes on it. Israel, we almost there. Trust and believe. We at the door. You at the door waiting for somebody to open it. That's where we're at. We're at the door of it being open. Pay attention. Don't let me lose your interest. 1 Thessalonians 2 and 11, it says, as you know how we exhorted and comforted and charged every one of you as a father doeth his children. So that's why I say every one of us in here, we have been through correction, and correction will continue to come forth. That you would walk worthy of God, who have called you unto his kingdom and glory. For this cause also thank we God without ceasing, because when ye receive the word of God, which ye heard of us, ye received it not as the word of men, but as it is in truth. So that means, Israel, you got to learn to receive the word as the word of the Most High, and not as the word of what? Word of men. Because guess what? Correction will come out just like a father doeth his children. It says, the word of God which effectually worketh also in you that believe. So if you truly believe, it's going to work in you, Israel. For ye, brethren, became followers of the churches of God which are in Judea or in Christ. For ye also have suffered like things of your own countrymen. What are the sufferings of like things? Remember, they're being hated and all of that stuff. So while you're being hated on that end, you're being corrected on this end. At the same time, being straight, better, stronger. Sometimes spiritually you might feel drained. Emotionally you might feel drained, but spiritually you should be strong. Okay? You should shine as lights. It says, even as they have of the Jews, who both killed the Lord Yahushua and their own prophets, and have persecuted us, and they please not God, and are contrary to all men. So they give all men hell like that, forbidding us to speak to the Gentiles that they might be saved, to fill up their sins always, for the wrath is come upon them to the uttermost. So when people reject you, and they reject us, they reject the Most High, they reject Christ, wrath is going to come upon them. When it says to the uttermost, meaning no matter what they do, wherever they go, to the uttermost parts of the earth, to the uttermost depths of whatever society or environment they in, it don't matter what they do, where they go, it's on for them. Last one, Romans 8 and 30. Romans 8 and Romans 8 and 26. It says, likewise, the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities. We all have infirmities, physical and spiritual. For we know not what we should pray for as we ought, but the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. And he that searcheth the hearts knoweth what is the mind of the Spirit. So when you see capitalized Spirit like that, is referring to the Most High. And he that searcheth the heart is Christ. It says, because he maketh intercession for the saints. So Yahweh shall make an intercession for us. It says, but it's according to the will of God. Meaning God has got a plan for us. We're living out a script. Can't go off script. Now, sometimes you watch the television and you want the person on the TV that you're watching to do something different than what they're doing. You're like, why you do that? They're playing the script. They can't go off script. So Yahweh Shai is praying that we get to understand our script and that we can accept it and play it. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God. So that's us coming together. It says, to them who are called according to his purpose, us learning to work together. For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate. That's going to us before we was here, now we're here. For whom he did foreknow, meaning us being with the Father before earth in the spirit world, he also did predestinate, meaning he intentionally sent you here to be conformed, meaning changed to the image of his Son, to righteousness, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestinate them. So it's not just one, it's plenty. He also called. And that's why you're here. And whom he called, them he justified. So the Most High, it is that justify us. Okay? Make us look good. And whom he justified, them he also glorified. That's the making us look good part. Okay? Nobody, the justification part is nobody can say nothing, ratchet against us, because we're acceptable in the sight of the Father, because he's given us the education, understanding of his word is acceptable. We're doing enough to be justified. That's why you can't just give yourself over to sin. I can do what I want to do. You can't do it. Then you're not justified. Okay? What shall we say then to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? Nobody can be against us, Israel. So keep ourselves clear from, irritating and agitating those people that really don't believe. See things according to the scriptures. See them for what they worth and not through a bag of emotions, and then you will understand why it is they don't listen. And you also understand the role that you play and the part that you play in this nation. So with that, Shalom. Now we got to close in Matthew chapter 26. Matthew chapter 26 and verse 6. It says, now when Christ was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahushua understood it, whom the world calls Jesus, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath brought to do work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. When that shall pour this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman have done be told for a memorial of her. So, all praises to the Most High for giving his sister the spirit to come forth and set a beautiful example of a broken and contrite heart, and give Christ some comfort for his burial. Okay. So the Lord's Communion, 1 Corinthians 11 and 23. For I received of the Lord, the which also I delivered unto you, that the Lord Yahushua, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. When he had given thanks, he brake and said, take, eat, this is my body which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as often as ye drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you do show the Lord's death till he come. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. But let a man examine himself, so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily, eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. For this cause, many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. But when we are judged, we are chastened of the Lord, that we should not be condemned with the world. Most high in the name of Christ, thank you for the food and drink. Amen. This is body which is broken for you. This is blood Stella Rosa. I think it's with an A. R-O-S-A. Okay, Israel. Oh, praise it.
Invalid option. Conference recording stopped.
So we're going to stand and face Jerusalem. Stay around for the prayers. Okay, Israel.
If every man was just like me, what kind of sanctuary would this be?
Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The laborers' prayer, Luke 10 and 2. Therefore said unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the labors are few. Pray therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he will send forth laborers into his harvest. Bless you, Most High King of heaven and earth, and all things, Most High, in the name of Christ. Send more disciples and teachers to your harvest, to gather your people Israel. Send counsel behind your laws to stand before the people Israel. Give to us strength to break down our lives with thy word. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The blessing of Israel, Numbers chapter 6 and 24. Children of Israel, the Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Children of Israel, bless one another.
Most High, in the name of Christ, bless you all.
All praises, all praises, all praises to the Most High Israel. Hi. Shalom, what's up, brother Russell? What's up, Felipe? Brother Yahweh, what's up, Clarice, how you doing, sister? Yahweh, what's up? Israel Judah, what's up, man?
There are
I just say right now, he got it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yo, so what's up, brother? Shalom, man. So Israel, I guess we're gonna prepare to get back out in the streets. Y'all definitely tune in to us. Brother Yosha, what's up, brother? Come out in the street, man, and holler at us, talk to us, man, build with us. All right, Israel, Shalom, Shabbat. I'm going to let y'all go, okay? Strength and honor. All praises, brother. All praises to the Most High, man. Thank you a lot, brother. All praises.
Lady's talking to you. Huh?
Nah. Yeah. It should
Going
be
dead.
unlocked already.
You ready for the pray for the baptism? When you getting baptized? Who baptizing you? Pray for my baptism. Okay. Most definitely. Who baptizing you when and stuff like that? You ready to come out? Ready to see you too, brother. Strength and honor, Felipe. When you getting baptized, sister?
Your daddy know you got them on your face. Why? To watch you get corrected real quick. Stop. I took.
Hey, I see you going, taking the bag. I ain't got nothing. I don't know what you got. Huh? Another rapper do. When you get a chance, okay. Where you live at? What city? What state you in? Come out and visit St. Louis for the Tabernacles. We'll get baptized then.
I have never seen somebody look so young, a younger version of themselves. What's wrong with your man?
Oh, okay.
Mine was the real Rico.
You got, how many names you got? I can't see your picture because it's like that big. Your picture like that big. How many names you got?
Yeah.
16 or something. What's wrong with your man?
Huh? I'm finna come check it out now. Okay, Israel, I gotta go, y'all. Much love, okay? Anybody need me, hit me on the inbox.